everybody can go ahead and get a seat. I cannot see anybody, so
I know.
if you guys can get a seat and sit down and give us a little bit of attention.
And don't be shy. You guys can all come up front, too. We don't bite. These tables up front here, bring them all up.
Yeah, it looks like there is some room
Yeah.
in that table right there. But it looks like it has phantom people with things. Yeah, phantom.
So how's everybody doing today?
Woo!
Taking the day off? How's that work for realtors? Everybody's in their back on the computer. On the phone. 2 phones in your head, right? Still running deals? That's how it works. It's all right. Well, we're glad you guys took some time out of the day to come out and check out this amazing opportunity for Build24 Hawaii. First time ever. Exciting.
Yeah, Chris, why don't you, yeah, that's great, Tiffany.
Huh?
Why don't you tell everybody kind of how Build got started? Like, who in the world had anything to do with this? Who started this?
I know, you all might know a guy named Brent Gove.
Brent Gove!
Yeah, he's right here. I love that guy. Brent Gove had initiated a great program and opportunity to really showcase EXP and its value proposition of what it's capable of done. And he did it in consecutive years. He started, I remember the very first one, actually in Arizona, in a room of like 50 people. That's how it started.
That's where I met you.
Yeah, that's where I met you. Literally, Brent never worries about how. He's the guy who just does, and the how shows up in the universe. That's Brent Gove. And he literally just does it all the time, literally the backseat of his pants. Started with 50 people, grew it, to the point in Texas we had the builds who've ever attended it of 6,000 people that attended Build in Texas. Now, this is an amazing opportunity to see how the power of EXP can really leverage your business and your capabilities financially. Generational wealth, legacy, everybody who is here understands the value of EXP. So now we're bringing this opportunity because Brent has, I don't want to say the word retired, it's not retired, right? You kind of like just took a break, a pause, and he handed the baton off to everybody, and now it's in 9 different states in the U.S., and Hawaii happened to be one of them. Yes.
Thank you, Brent, for that.
So starting and paving the path, Sheree and I jumped on the opportunity because we know the amazing opportunity. We have been here since 2017, and there was, I think, 15 people in EXP in the entire state of Hawaii. Thank you, Randy Perthero, if you're here. We love you. But then in extent, we've grown and grown and grown, and now I think I don't know the exact count, but I think we're really close to beating Coldwell Banker. Can I say that out loud?
Yeah, you can say that.
Sorry.
We're at 800 now. That's great.
But yes, I think we're close to almost 800 agents total in the state of Hawaii. So you guys should be excited why you're here today. That is why we're growing. And events like this is the real reason why it's doing what it's doing. So that is why you're here today, the opportunity to plug into top talented speakers to showcase how EXP has allowed them to take and leverage what they're already doing great at right now. They're already great in their spaces wherever they're at. They came to EXP, used the platform, and put it on steroids, 10x their business, and now have leveraged themselves financially across the board. That's really now RevShare 2.0. Everybody should be excited about RevShare 2.0. Yes. Changing lives overnight. It changed my life overnight. I literally woke up in the morning like it was Christmas story, and I come running out in my boxers.
Squealing like a little pig.
I was so excited. I was jumping like it was Christmas, like I just got something, but I did. I won the lottery, and I'm amazed, and all because of Brent started this whole thing, so thank you. So now we're here to showcase this opportunity for you guys to plug in. What are some of the things they're going to learn here in the next 2 days?
Okay, some of our agenda, kind of why are we here, what are we going to do, what are you going to get out of this? Well, let me just start out by saying you're going to get out of it whatever you want to get out of it.
Amen.
So if you don't believe you're going to get anything out of it, you're right. But if you believe you can get something out of this, or if you believe like you're really going to get a lot out of it, you're right. You're right, you're all right. So what I really want to do is tell you that there's going to be some amazing speakers come up here that are going to talk about how to get more listings. There's going to be people talk about how to secure your buyers in this up-and-coming market. There's a whole bunch of different things that are going to come up, and you're going to grab things. There's also going to be just some storytelling that's going to inspire you. We're going to have an Olympian here in the house. We have all kinds of great speakers. So, Destin. So good to see everybody, and let's go ahead and why don't you introduce the first amazing speaker?
We got, I know, right. This is a good friend of mine actually now that I've met, and here's the thing about EXP that I think maybe most of you don't think about is that I've managed to have an opportunity to meet an amazing amount of people and make new friends and family members all over the world. I never would have been able to do that anywhere else, without any brokerage I was at, and now that I've been able to do so, I've landed here in Hawaii, and I have met our next speaker coming up, which in all honesty, I think he might have been my brother. I just don't know. I should talk to my parents, but he probably is my other brother. because we almost look very similar. If I shaved my head bald, I would look just like him. I'm saying that right now.
He's a little younger.
I'm a little jealous. But no, Dylan Nanaka is an amazing individual who is a rock star, native Hawaiian on the Big Island, who has started his family member's co-op banker, right? So in all reality, the thought of him possibly coming to EXP was pretty remote. Not going to happen, but now he saw the opportunity, and he's here, and he's grown his business exponentially. That's even a word. Is that a word? Exponentially. And we've watched him grow since 2015, or what was it? No, wait. 2019, how he's made himself grow, and now he's going to share his story. But his ability to see how he's going to leverage the EXP model is amazing. This is what you guys are going to plug into today, and speakers like this for the next 2 days. So get excited. Put your hands together for Dylan Nanaka from the Big Island. Woo!
What's up, everybody? We ready to go? All right. Oh, we missed our slide. All right, there's my slide. Hey, first I want to congratulate you guys for being in this room. Showing up today, everybody could have came to this, right, in a state, but you decided to show up today, and I promise you, this can change your life. And I know firsthand, like Chris was talking about, back in 2019, after about 4 or 5 months I had come to EXP, Chris gave me a call and he encouraged me to go to this event in Red Rock. And he said, hey man, you gotta come to this. This is where guys like you need to be. You're gonna learn how to grow your business. It can change your life. And at the time I was like, man, this is kind of expensive. Like I gotta spend 3 days at a casino in Vegas, and I wasn't making a ton of money at the time. But I said yes. And sometimes you just gotta say yes. And I went there and I got to meet Brent Gove, and I got to just watch these amazing speakers on stage just share their playbook and all the things they were doing to do amazing things. And in my mind, the pinnacle of real estate in Hawaii was like selling 25 or 30 houses a year. That's what the badasses on the Big Island were doing, right? And so I thought if I could get to doing that, that was the pinnacle. And then I see guys on stage selling 300, 400, 500 homes, and I'm like, man, I'm thinking so small. And I also realized that those dudes weren't no smarter than I was. And so I just basically took the playbook, I came home, and we started building. And so I'm gonna tell you that story, and then I'll share some other stuff. So I'm gonna share with you guys just like the 20-year overnight success story, because you guys see speakers on stage and it's intimidating because you're like, man, I could never be like that guy, or they're so far ahead of where I wanna be in life. And it all takes time, right? So I was born and raised in Kona, just like Chris said, pretty normal childhood. I had divorced parents since I was 5, didn't have, a super wealthy upbringing or anything like that, but pretty normal life. And so in 1999, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I did not want to be a construction worker on the Big Island or work at a hotel. And I didn't have the money, or I didn't think I was smart enough to go to college. So I did the next best thing. I joined the Marine Corps, right? Semper Fi. And there was a time of peace. Everything was cool. It was a great time. I had a great time shooting guns and blowing stuff up. And then Iraq happens in 2003, and I got to be one of the first guys into the country and into Baghdad. And so that was an experience that definitely changed my life. It taught me a lot about leadership, and it shaped the way I've gone about life since then. I'm not going to spend too much time on that, but kind of just so you can understand where I'm coming from. I came home in 2003, and I actually met a girl on leave from Iraq when I came home, and she ended up becoming my wife, and she was going to UH Hilo, so I made a real strategic decision and said, you know what, I'm going to just go to UH Hilo too, because this girl was going there. And so I went on the GI Bill. We have been together ever since. She is a huge reason this event happened today. If you haven't met her, Monica, she's outside on the registration table. She was a school teacher for 16 years, and I got her to quit being a school teacher in 21. She joined the team, and then I call it the era of Monica. You'll see what the growth has looked like since she's joined our operation. She's not a realtor, but she's an amazing leader and trainer and educator to our team. In 2004, I got my real estate license for the first time. My mom had been a realtor, and she made me go because I listened to my mom. So I went to real estate school and then didn't do anything for like 10 years. And then in 2006, I got involved in Hawaii politics. I did that for like 10 years. I thought I wanted to change the world and didn't, and failed miserably at that. If anybody knows how Hawaii politics goes, and won't spend any more time on that. And then in 2015, I was contemplating what to do in life after banging my head against the wall after a decade and not really making any progress. And my wife one day, I went out to lunch with my mom. I was home from an Army Reserve school. And she said, you ever think about going back into real estate? And I was like, no ways. Like, I don't want to do real estate. And I went home that night and was talking to my wife, and she asked me, we were watching TV, and she says, hey, you ever think about doing real estate again? I really don't think you should get a real job. And I was like, did you talk to my mom? And she said, no, but these are the two smartest ladies I've ever met. So I was like, you know what? I'll just reactivate my license just in case, I want to use that as something that to do in the future. And so I reactivated my real estate license in 2015. And I basically just went to work. I didn't have anything else to do. I was unemployed, and I started showing up. My mom and my stepdad had been the broker at Coldwell Banker for decades. And so I had amazing mentors, and I just showed up every day, went to work, listened to what they were doing, and tried to figure stuff out. And so from 2015 to 2018, this is like my first full-time stint in real estate. I was a pretty average real estate agent. I do, 15, 20 deals a year. I do 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 million in production. And it was my mom, my stepdad, and myself. And then about a year and a half after I was licensed, I got my brother, convinced him to get his license. Who's here? Where you at, Andrew? Where's Andrew? Point him out. He's not gonna. If you guys, I already mentioned my wife, but a lot of the credit of what I'm gonna talk about today goes to my wife and my brother. Having those types of people in your life who you can trust absolutely, who are completely dedicated, completely loyal, it's hard to find in business, and I'm blessed to have them. But my brother joined the 4-person team, and we were at Coldwell Banker, and everything was hunky-dory. And then the franchise was bought by Coldwell Banker Island Properties. We were their first acquisition when they started expanding all across the state. A lot of you guys are familiar with them. And I'm a vibe culture guy, and I immediately felt like the vibe wasn't right. And I told my mom, I said, I got to go do something else. Like, this isn't going to work. I was a loyal company guy. I wouldn't have never looked anywhere else. And I started looking because I got my broker's license, and I just felt like the vibe wasn't right. And like many people, I stumbled upon EXP on YouTube and stayed up late one night watching YouTube videos. And then my sponsor, John, who's here, he's going to be up next. Love that guy. He called me out of the blue the next day and just said, hey, I don't know if you ever heard about EXP, but I want to tell you about this opportunity. I'm like, as a matter of fact, bro, I was watched 3 hours of videos last night about it. Tell me more. And the lesson for that, you guys, is you never know who needs to be called, right? You're afraid to call your friend because you think they won't switch, you think they're happy where they're at, or you think they love their broker. My broker was my freaking stepdad, you guys. Nobody would have ever called me. I was unrecruitable, but he called me at the right time. When I was looking, I switched, and the rest is history, which we'll talk about here in a second. So from 2019 to 2004, we go from my brother and 5 agents to 130 agents across all 4 Hawaiian islands, and I'll talk about what that looks like now. And this is not revenue share group. This is sales team, you guys, right? A lot of these agents are not in my revenue share group. They're part of our sales team. And so this is what it looked like coming to EXP. This is what is possible if you choose the path that I took. You don't have to, but if you want to, this is absolutely what's possible. In 2019, we did 43 million in 95 units. We ended the year at 9 agents. In 2020, we did 57 million, 139 units, and 22 agents at the end of the year. In 21, we went to 135 million, 326 units, and we ended the year just under 50 agents. And this was a year we expanded to Hilo, Justice Pang and Ivory Calber. Where's the Hilo crew at over there? The Hilo crew came on board. So it wasn't long ago that we just started expanding on our own island, right? So this happens really quickly. In 22, we went to just under 200 million, 520 units, and 83 agents. In 23, we ended the year at 265 million, 621 units, and 110 agents. And in 23, it was a crazy year. We expanded to Maui at the beginning of the year. Where's the Maui crew at? There we go. They inspired me to start the island hopping campaign, so we started in Maui. We went to Oahu at the middle of last year, and then at the end of last year, I partnered with my friend Ronnie Margolis, and we merged our teams, and we completed the whole island takeover by merging teams with Ronnie at the end of 2023. And so in 2024, you guys, the big, hairy, audacious goal is 1,000 units. It's never been done in Hawaii. Not very many teams across the country ever do it, but we're on track. We're just at about 300 units for the year already, so it's definitely within reach, and so that's the plan for 2024. And we're now the #1 real estate team in all of Hawaii, and we're between number 3 and number 5 for volume and units in all of EXP. It's mind-blowing, you guys. It's totally insane. But this is what's possible in 5 years. This is what's possible in 5 years if you choose to put your mind to it and put the work in. So I want all of my team, where's the team? Stand up, team. I want to show you guys how many people are on the team here. You guys see? This is what I'm most proud of, you guys. These guys show up, they put in the work, right? They're here. And if your people aren't here, you got to get them to stuff like this, because the only way they're going to get better, the only way they're going to get inspired is to be present and show up. So thank you guys. We wouldn't be here without these guys. This is not about me. I just get the credit. I get to talk about it. But every single day I'm grateful beyond belief to the folks that choose to be a part of what we're doing. So I love you guys. Thank you. All right, so we're going to talk about the scalability mindset. This is, I think, a hard thing for a lot of humans to wrap their head around, because we live in a really scarce environment, right? So the first thing is you always got to start with abundance. Real estate might be the most scarcity mindset business there is out there. Everybody thinks they're your competition. Everybody's your frenemy. It sucks, you guys. I hated the way real estate felt before I came to EXP and before we were part of this team. So you always got to believe there's enough to go around, right? I believe there's way more business than I could ever do by myself, and we're nobody's competition, right? There's nobody in competition with us. We're doing our own thing, and if you approach the world that way, you don't put yourself in situations where you stop yourself from growing, because that's basically what happens. Is every time you think, I'm going to lose out, or somebody else is going to win if I do this, you stop scaling. So start with abundance first. You got to build for where you're going. This really applies to technology and systems, but a lot of times, agents won't do things that will help them scale because they just don't want to invest the time now. I use SkySlope templates as a perfect example. How many of you guys use SkySlope templates? Not that many. You're wasting your damn time, you guys. All you got to do is create a template one time, and you never have to put 14 signatures in again when you send an offer out, right? It's a crazy thing, but you could save yourself literally tens of hours a year if you're sending a lot of offers out by doing a SkySlope template. And this applies to everything that you do. Your accounting system, your CRM, all of those things. Spend the time to build the system that you don't need today, because if you're going to need it in the future, that's the only way you're going to grow into it. So you got to start building for where you're going and not where you're at. You got to hire for what you need, not in 6 months, not now. This is another scarcity mindset thing, right? I don't want to spend the money on hiring or bringing somebody in or bringing a partner in because I don't want to give up that money. I don't necessarily need it. But you won't free up the time that you need to do the things that you need to grow if you stop yourself from doing that. It always is scary when you spend more money, and I've spent more money than most people have. I'll tell you about it. But every time I spent more money, I made more money the next year. So you have to get over that scarcity mindset. You got to grow, and you got to hire for where you're going, not where you're at. And then you got to duplicate yourself. This might be the hardest thing. I joke about this, but I love not being needed. I love coming to this and my phone not ringing for 4 hours and not having to answer an email. It means the systems that we've built are working, and I am not critical to the operation. If you are critical to your operation, if you are a single point of failure, your business is not healthy. So you got to think about, how do I duplicate myself and remove myself from the business for not forever, but a specified period of time, and the business continue to operate. So always think about that. What can you do to duplicate yourself? It's an ego thing, right? You want to be important. You want to be the most special person to your client. You want to be the only person that can hold the open house like you do it. But if that's your mindset, you're never going to grow, and you're never going to trust anybody else to do anything for you. So think about, how can I duplicate myself? All right, some lessons learned. So this is just a compilation of things, tips, tricks that we've learned along the way that hopefully can help you. The first one is employees versus partnerships. We've built our whole entire business off of partnerships. I have no employees. I don't pay anybody hourly. Nobody's on a fixed income. Nobody's on a salary. Everybody who is a leader or runs a piece of the organization is a partner in the business. They get a piece of the commissions when we close. And they're invested in the business long term, right? They're not there for a paycheck. They're there in the growth and success of the business, and it changes the dynamic. So when you're trying to hire the cheapest possible person to do something, that's what you're going to get, and you're not going to get somebody invested in growing your business. So think about partners versus employees. Value potential over experience. I learned this in the military. People are always looking for that established, experienced person, and those people are usually set in their ways. They're not necessarily the best person to be on your team. Look for potential, somebody who has the potential, who has the work ethic, who has the intelligence to learn what you need them to do, even if they don't already know it, and be conscious of that and just look for potential versus experience. Dedication to process versus outcome. Everybody wants to be on the Super Bowl winning team. Not a lot of people want to wake up at 5 a.m. and practice every day to win the Super Bowl. You got to look for the people who want to wake up at 5 a.m. every day and put the work in and put the practice in, and whatever happens, happens, but they're dedicated to the process of making the phone calls every day, putting the work, going into their CRM, doing the things that are going to create winners and not necessarily just winning. If you're coming just because you want to be part of the winning team, it's the wrong attitude, and you got to identify that very early in the process. Don't assume that you know what your superstars will look like. Most of the people who hold a key critical position on our team, if you asked me to stereotype them when I met them, if they'd be, any type of asset, I probably would have told you no, because I'm an idiot and I don't know what great superstars look like. So don't assume what your superstars are going to look like, and the critical people on your team are going to, don't profile them, right? Because it's easy to do that, and you got to look for potential, not experience, right? So don't assume that there's an avatar out there, because people will surprise you. Trust people until they give you a reason not to. Real estate's a very untrustworthy business, right? Everybody's suspicious of everybody. Everybody doesn't believe anybody. If you guys have ever worked with me, you know I will trust you 100% until you give me a reason not to. The default position is always trust. And if you start from that place, it just builds a strong culture and a strong organization. When you start from a place of distrust, people smell that, they feel that, and it never turns into a productive relationship. So think about that, be conscious about that. Leaders eat last. This is a military concept also, but when the chow comes and you're in the trenches fighting, the privates eat first, then the sergeants, then the lieutenants, then the captain, and the generals eat last, right? You gotta make sure the people in the trenches are getting fed, and a lot of times as a leader, it's easy to abuse the fact that you're the leader and you get more benefits than everybody else does, and it also contributes to a very unhealthy culture. So there's a great book by Simon Sinek called Leaders Eat Last. Highly recommend you read it. All right, don't let the 1% problem stop you from taking action with things that are a 99% benefit. I focus heavily on this today because agents love to focus on stuff. They go to the lender and say, can you do a construction loan in Lava Zone 1 on a yurt, right? That's a stupid ass question. Like, that's not what you're ever gonna do in business. Like, why are you looking for a lender that will do that, right? People focus on like the 1% little tiny thing that will never create any success in their business instead of the 99 stuff. Again, abundance versus scarcity, right? Holding on to every little thing, that crappy client that runs you ragged versus letting them go, and focus on the 99% of your database who will make you money. So focus, if it's a 1% problem, don't spend any time on it. You gotta identify that quickly and just stop, because it holds us back from growing. And then practice unconditional love. This goes back to trust. But there's not enough love in our business, you guys. The first time your TC screws up, you say, to hell with them, I'm never using them again, they're terrible, I hate that person, right? Even though 99% of the time they did an amazing job for you, right? And you cannot build a team like that. You cannot trust people on your team if the first time they screw up, you say, I will no longer work with you, and you're kicked off my team. We just gotta have a little bit of unconditional love. We don't do this in our personal lives, right? We don't treat people like that in our personal lives. If your kids were treated that way, you wouldn't have any kids, or you wouldn't have a spouse. So in business, just think about, like, am I practicing unconditional love here, or am I being conditional and being judgmental? Because that's one of the things that really stops you from scaling and growing. So just a little bit more love, you guys. Let's love each other a little bit more. All right, and speak your intentions out loud. I'm gonna talk about this in a second at the end. All right, what they don't tell you, that's all the positive stuff, right? This is the negative stuff that goes through your monkey mind that holds you back. The first one is, you will do, I promise you, I was just talking to somebody about this, way more work than you'll do less. People say, I wanna grow a business, and I wanna have a team, and I wanna do all this stuff because I wanna go to the beach every day. That ain't how it works. You just do different work, and most of the time you do more than you did before. So if your desire is to work less, you're never gonna get there. So just understand that. You're gonna spend a ton of your own money to grow. Everybody thinks, I'm gonna be a team leader, I'm gonna grow a business, I'm gonna make all this money, I'm gonna buy a Ferrari, and everything's gonna be great. You know, my wife can tell you, I drove her nuts. I mean, there was years, 6 figures I would spend in investing in the business, building out new systems, bringing people on, giving commissions away so I could do more work on the business instead of in the business. And you will guaranteed spend money before you make money. And you cannot let that, again, scarcity mindset versus abundance mindset. Every time you spend money and you invest, it's gonna pay off tenfold, but you gotta have the guts to spend the money first. You're going to feel underappreciated or unappreciated. This is an ego thing, right? I'm doing all this work for all these people, and they don't even care. And that's usually not the case. It's untrue. That's something that happens in our brains, and we tell ourselves, but it's going to hold you back from doing the things that you got to do. So never mind who gets the credit or if you feel appreciated. Nobody cares how you feel, right? Just keep putting in the work, and it's going to work out. You're going to be constantly disappointed. I joke with the team every day. They disappoint the shit out of me every day. Every day I wish they would do more stuff. Every day I would wish they would work harder. Every day I wish they would make more phone calls, right? But that doesn't make me stop. That doesn't make me not love them. It doesn't make me trying to keep push them and inspire them. So if you're not disappointed every day, you're probably not setting the example high enough, right? The speed of the pack is set by the speed of the leader, and not everybody's going to keep up, but that's okay because they're not you, right? If they were you, they wouldn't need you. So don't stop because you're disappointed. And then this might be the hardest one. You're going to face teammates, friends, family, all kinds of people who are not going to share your vision, your big vision. And that'll stop you from growing. But it's okay. And it's okay to not have them as part of your vision anymore. You can still be friends. You can still love them. But this is the thing that really holds people back. Unfortunately, sometimes it's spouses. Sometimes it's people very close to you say, you shouldn't do that. Why are you doing that? I'm blessed. My wife has never said that. Every crazy-ass thing I've ever said, let's do this, she's like, okay, let's figure out a way. Surround yourself with those people, right? And remove the people from your life that are holding you back. Because it's okay. You don't have to be around them. All right. Okay, we're going to shift gears here because we're all over the place, right? This is probably the most serious slide in the whole entire deck right here. You know who this guy is? This is the elephant in the room, right? And what is that? Buyer agent commissions, right? So I'm going to do like 6 minutes on buyer agent commissions, and I want to hear about it for the rest of the week, okay? Never again. I'm going to give you guys everything you need to know about buyer agent commissions in this next 5 minutes. And here's the formula. D plus V equals 3%. All right, so this is basically a buyer consult system, right? Not a buyer presentation. This is a consultation like an attorney does, like a doctor does. Think about yourself in that way. If you want to be paid like a doctor and attorney, we got to act like a doctor and attorney. So what we're going to do is we're going to uncover the buyer's goals and dreams. We're going to discover the property needs. We're going to discuss compensation, and then we're going to summarize the whole thing with a strategic plan. I got a whole document for you guys to download that goes through this in very detailed information, questions that you can ask, all that stuff. I'll give that QR code to you at the end. But we're going to break this down. All right, discovery. If you don't do a thorough discovery process, you're never going to build trust and rapport with your client, right? A lot of times we don't do this. We don't ask them what their hopes and dreams are. What are their big goals? Why are they moving? Like deep questions, not how many bedrooms and how many bathrooms do you need. So you got to start with really big, deep goals and dreams conversations, and then we get into the talking about property criteria. Because if we understand the big picture, the smaller picture, they may not understand or they may not have a clear picture of it. We can help them get there, maybe guide them in the right direction, but we don't do enough discovery on the top end first with the big goals and dreams discussion. So let's focus on that first. And then understanding their priorities, right? Asking the questions of what is your timeline? What is your monthly budget look like? What's comfortable to you? What is important about the location? Is it proximity to the school or grandparents? Medical centers, what is it to understand those types of things versus I want to be in Mililani, right? That's not a deep conversation. That's not a deep understanding of what the buyer is looking for. And then summarize the whole thing in a strategic plan. How many of you guys have, after doing a thorough discussion with a buyer, sent them back 2 paragraphs outlining exactly what you talked about and what you're going to do versus what they're going to do and what the mutual understanding is? Like that binds the whole thing together, right? And now you have a written agreement, right? A contract almost, where there's a clear understanding. Like I don't show property on Sunday because I spend the day with my family and I go to church. Whatever it is, like have that discussion up front. So when Sunday comes along and they want to see property, you can say, hey, remember we talked about that? I'm going to have my friend Tara show you property that day. Is that okay? Because we already talked about it. So summarize that big discussion in a strategic plan. All right, value. After you have a deep understanding of what the buyer's needs are, we got to dive into our personal value, right? And there's 2 ways you can do this. The first one is one-to-one, right? We do it in person, consultation, at the office, in a coffee shop, on Zoom. And there's a basic framework you want to use. Who you are, right? Share your experience, your resume. You need to come up with a good document that lays that out, what your experience is. What you do. I help families like you buy property in Ocean View all the time. Make that connection that I specifically do what you need me to do, right? That's what I do. That's who I am. And then how do I do it? I do it through X, Y, and Z. Come up with a script, a clear understanding of your process. By looking at the MLS every single morning, sending you property updates, doing video tours for you. How are you going to do what you said you're going to do? Now, this is important, and you have to do this. But if you really want to be value squared, you have to do one-to-many. You have to do mass marketing, right? You have to provide value to the marketplace before you ever speak to the customer. I just had a closing yesterday or the day before. The guy came to my office and picked up the keys. This guy called me on a Friday morning and said, hey, I appreciate all the video emails the last 3 years. I found the house that my wife and I want to buy. Can you write me the offer? Sure, give me the address. I look it up. It's 1.3 million. I write him the offer. We're in escrow the next day. Quick 25-day cash closing. I didn't know the guy existed, but for 3 years, I was his realtor. He believed I was his realtor, even though I didn't know he existed, because somehow he got on my email list, right? So how many people are out there in the world that believe that you are their realtor and you don't know they exist? Ask yourself that question, because if there isn't a lot of them, it's going to be a hard road coming up, because you're going to be competing with people who are doing that, right? So if you don't like how your hair looks, or you don't like how your voice looks, and you don't want to do video, and you don't want to put yourself out there, maybe you should find a different job. Like that's all. It's harsh, but you got to really think about that, because we got to be out there providing value to the marketplace. And this also works for agent attraction. Very rarely do I have an agent attraction conversation where they haven't already watched me on Instagram and YouTube and know who I am and are very comfortable with speaking to me, right? I don't have to prove credibility because they've already established that with them. So you want to create clients that don't know you exist. And the outcome is inbound calls that I just talked about, right? The outcome is, if you look at any heavy hitter in this room that does a ton of business, they get calls where the first question is, are you taking on new clients? They don't have to have a discussion about compensation, because they're expecting they're going to have to pay, because they're calling the best person in the market to help represent them, right? You want that inbound call to be, are you taking on new clients? That's the goal. That's the outcome from all of this discovery and value. All right, now 3% every time. This is all you guys have to know about talking about buyer's representation agreements and the compensation discussion. So only after a very thorough discovery process and value discussion is conducted, do you have a conversation about compensation. And this might be the most critical thing. Write this down, you guys. And this is important in all difficult conversations. You have to frame the conversation. If you don't frame the conversation in terms of most likely outcomes, people make assumptions and they draw conclusions, and then the discussion goes off the rails, okay? So you're gonna get this script. You don't have to write it down, but this is basically how the conversation goes. Is when you get to the point of discussion about compensation, you explain to the buyer, in the vast majority of cases, and then you insert market data. 97% of the time, sellers are still offering compensation for my services when we go and purchase a home. In the very rare case that a seller is not offering compensation and they're not going to pay for your representation on your behalf, there's a couple of things that can happen. The first one is we can negotiate my compensation into the offer in the form of a credit from the seller to our brokerage. They'll cover my costs. It won't cost you anything out of pocket. We could also, in the case if you're a cash buyer, or if we just want to negotiate it into the purchase price, we can negotiate the purchase price down to compensate for the cost of representation. And that way, your net cost of buying the home is the same as it would have been if the seller was offering compensation. And in the very rare case, less than 1% of the time, when none of those options are available to us and we're not successful doing any of those things, my compensation may be part of your closing costs. And I'm going to make 100% certain that you are comfortable making an offer on that home and what your closing costs are going to be before we do that. Are you comfortable with that? What would you say to that conversation? Yes, right? And this will diffuse, again, 99% of buyers who are reasonable, good people who are going to see your value because you did a good job are going to be okay with this. But you're going to ask me, right? But Dylan, what about the ones that refuse to pay a commission? Write this down, you guys. Okay. 1% problem, right? 1% problem. Don't focus on that guy. Go out and find the 99 more that will pay you, right? You do not ever have to work for no compensation, ever. So don't worry about it. I didn't say it. My wife said, please don't say it. I said, okay, I'll just use it. I'll just put it on the screen, all right? All right, so if you want to download, there's like a 9-page guide with questions on how to build this whole entire discovery value the script that we just shared right there. Just download the code, put in your information. You're going to get on my email list, so you'll get my weekly emails every Saturday with real estate tips, mindset advice, all that stuff. I will be spamming you, too bad, but it's going to be great information, all right? Okay, so we're going to end with this, you guys. I talked about speaking it to an existence, right? And I want to ask you guys, this is my one request for you guys this week, for the next 2 days, is write on your paper, what are you going to speak into existence? What are you going to tell your friends, your family, the people on your table that you're going to do in the next year, 2 years, 5 years? Because if you don't do it, it's not going to happen, right? The universe hears you if you speak it out loud. And so I want to give you guys an example of this. I'm going to tell you about how I got to EXP. But in EXP, I came to EXP in December of 18, so 19 was my first year. And today in 2022, we have the #1 team in Hawaii, and we ended the year as the number 20 team in all of EXP in just 4 short years here at EXP. Totally mind-blowing, but then now, where's Kenny Fast at? We're coming for you, Kenny. Number 20, we're coming for you, all right? Who does that, you guys? Who calls out the #1 team in EXP? Who does that? Right? This is February of 23 at Brent's event in Maui. Kenny was in the audience. I told him we're coming for you. 1 year later, in January of 2024, we're #1 on the leaderboard for units in the entire country. Right? Right now, we're not there yet. We're not there right now, but we're hovering between 3 and 5. But 1 year later, we go from 20 to right on the heels of Kenny Fast and some of the biggest, most successful teams in the country. But it's because we spoke it into existence, right? You got to do it from stage. You got to do it on a Zoom. You got to do it in front of people and not be ashamed of what you want to accomplish. So write it down today. When you hear some speaker that inspires you this week, speak it into existence, write it down, and tell the people on your table. And then tell me. I want to hear at the end of tomorrow what you're going to do, all right? Because this is what we're going to do, you guys. We're going to be the #1 team in EXP, and we're going to do 1,000 units. All right. This is all my contact information, you guys. You can scan the code. If you ever need anything, there's links to book a call. I will help you with attraction. I will help you with coaching, whatever you need. If there's anything I can do, I've been helped so many times over. The least I can do is pay it back. So please don't ever hesitate to reach out. Kona Broker on Instagram. Thank you, guys. All good, all good.
A little late on that. That was so amazing, Dylan.
Oh, yes. Woo! Give it up for Dylan one more time. Dude.
Oh my God. #1 team, you guys. There's 90,000 agents at EXP. Dylan, you're completely rocking it.
Our next speaker. I met Michelle, actually, not really met her in person. This is the first time I met you in person. We met kind of online. We met through EXP, some of the conventions. But this individual, #1 from Washington State, built one of the largest independent brokerages in Washington State, ran one of the largest C21 brokerages franchises in Washington State, and also had the largest listing brokerage in Washington State. And I have never seen anybody with more discipline. We talked about discipline earlier than Michelle. This girl gets up every morning before God, and she works out relentlessly. You see her on social media. She does like 5,000 sit-ups, 7,000 pull-ups, and 80,000 miles. I don't know what it is, but you'll see when you see her. Nonetheless, welcome Michelle Wilson to the stage. Get it, girl. Woo!
All right. Aloha, everyone. So thank you, Chris, for the invitation. How great is it to be here? I brought my daughter with me, and I am just honored to be here in the room with all of you, so thank you. And we all know that there's a lot going on in our industry right now, right, and over the past couple of years. And there is a lot of people that need help. They're looking for hope, and they're looking for more. I still cannot believe that I get to live my life how I do every day today. I am so grateful, and I found this platform at exactly the right time. How many of you are used to being the supporter and provider in your families? I can't see you, but raise your hand, right? How many of you, right? We show up every day, right? We show up every day no matter what, because we have to. We have people relying on us. And it's not necessarily in doing the things that we want to, right? But we show up. So I want to ask you guys some questions. And actually, John, you briefly touched on this. And I'm going to relate to this a little bit later. These questions are the hard questions. And these are all things that we've probably been asked before. But I wasn't able to do what I did with them that changed my life until I hit the right timing. And I'm going to share that with you guys. So a couple of things that I want you guys to write down if you guys are taking notes, right? Are you looking ahead to where you're actually going, right? Are you looking at where you're heading? And is the goal just to make a lot of money right now, but then you'll figure out the long-term play later, right? And are you living the kind of life, the way that you want to now, and the way that you designed it, or are you operating the way that you are because you have to? Think about that, okay? And John said this, okay? Let's actually talk about what's the most important to us. Let's look at what matters in our lives, right? What's going on with our relationships? How is your relationship with your spouse? And what about your kids? How is your relationship with your kids? And how are you doing physically? And how are you doing financially? One of the best parts about where I am today is that I get to have these hard conversations with people all the time because I know how easy it is to lose sight of why we're actually doing all this in the first place. I know how easy it is to get caught up in just making more money, in just trying to get caught up, right? And if I can only accomplish this, it's too easy to get caught up in that. So I want to tell you right now, if you are not happy where you are at, or you think you don't have it all figured out, there is a better way. Okay? And I'm going to share my journey with you guys, and in hopes that it impacts even just one of you, where you find that something inside of you, where you get the courage to make that decision that's going to change your family's life. Oh, I'm really bad at slides, you guys. There's where it starts. Those are the questions I want you guys to ask. So here's just a quick snapshot about my background, okay? So I grew up in the Pacific Northwest. I'm from Washington State. I've been in the industry for just under 2 decades, and I've had the good fortune of building a great business and company that's been able to really push through and thrive in a lot of different markets. I had one of the largest independent brokerages that I built in the state, one of the largest Century 21s in the country, and our niche was listings, okay? So I had the largest listing brokerage in my marketplace for many of those years. I run a sales and conversion listing program for agents. So I work with agents, I work with team leaders, and I work with broker owners all across the country. And the story I'm going to share with you guys is I hit a really interesting and pivotal point in my life about 5 years ago. And I had to make some big decisions, and I had to take some huge risks. And where I want to start with you guys is, let's follow my links here. I love what I do. Okay, I love what I do, and I have been building and supporting so many people for so many years in this huge operation. I have this overwhelming sense of responsibility for the whole operation and all the people in it, right? And my mantra is always do the work. You get everything you want if you just do the work, right? It's what I hashtag on everything. It's do the work, do the work. However, at the same time, am I actually progressing to what matters to me? Because it's not just about making money. And bigger is not always better, even though it's easy to get caught up in, right? Most of us feel frustrated or are unhappy with where we're at because we're not progressing towards something that's worthwhile to us. You see, as an owner, you are a leader, and we are responsible for our people, and we choose to be in this role. And many might think that it's exciting, it might be powerful, but that's all perspective, okay? Because building our businesses comes at a huge cost. And no matter how successful we are, no matter how great things look on the outside, there are problems that we cannot solve. And I'm just gonna highlight for you guys, and I know there are many in this room that would be able to relate to this, right? The challenges that we experience in this industry, okay? Anyone, whether as an agent, as a team leader, as an owner, these are the things that we experience. And I wanna highlight the top challenges that we come across, okay? Number one is our liability and our expenses. The more successful we are, the bigger we grow, so does our overhead, so does our staff, so does our liability. I think at one point, between my staff, my virtual assistants, and my ISAs, okay, I had probably, well over 70 people on payroll. My name was signed on 6 different leases. My overhead, this is exciting, was well over $250,000 a month just to run my company. Oh, And that did not include anyone that's part of a franchise here, the hundreds of thousands of dollars a year in royalty fees to corporate, okay? And we got to carry the liability of hundreds and thousands of contracts every single year. That was pretty cool. If anyone's in my position, okay? Number 2, the evolving door of agents. So, like any business, we have to constantly be creating business, right? Meaning, we have to constantly be recruiting agents or we're not in business. And here's the reality. There's nothing in it for the agents. They can leave to a company tomorrow to close their transactions. Just like that. There's always a cheaper shop. There's always another shiny toy. And our top producers will eventually say, I love you, thank you, but I'm going to build something for myself now. And this is a hard pill to swallow, just knowing that it's part of the process. And our job as team leaders and owners is to provide as much value as possible to slow down and delay that process as much as possible. But that heartache that this causes, it does catch up with you eventually. And I know a lot of you guys know what I'm talking about, okay? Number 3 is having an actual exit strategy. So here's the reality. Most will never build something big enough to actually matter financially. I talk to so many owners, and we all just think, okay, well, if I can just build it to this many agents, and then eventually I can sell it, and I'll be good. So yes, we can sell it. The payout is not very much. In most cases, it makes sense to just keep the income coming. But we want our time back eventually, right? We want our time back. So we can hire managers to run our operations. But that's also one of our biggest challenges because they're never going to care and be invested the same way that we are. And our asset is our agents who can walk out the door the moment that we're gone, okay? And in a lot of cases, they are at our companies for us. And the last one, to me, this is the most important by far. I think everybody in our industry can relate, okay? I think everyone can relate to this. How many of you, sorry, getting used to holding all this, how many of you have had your spouse or your kids begging you to stop working on the weekends and the evenings? I can't see you, but raise hands. How many of you? And how many of you have ruined vacations or any event because we're on our cell phones and laptops the whole time, right? And how many of you have used the excuse a few hundred too many times, babe, I have to. This is for our future. I have to make us money. It won't always be this way. So here's the deal. I've always been a workhorse, right? This is normal for my friends, my family, my coworkers. I think most of us, we have to put in the work, right? I believe 100% put in the work because there is no easy way. However, I think most of us think that we have to sacrifice one for the other, right? Or at least I did. That's what we think we have to do. We think that, what do we have to give up here, right? We don't have to give up what's important to us and our families. We don't have to have our health wait. Our families don't have to wait. We don't have to be the yes man to every client, every agent, to our partners, because there is a better way. So let's go back in all of this, and this is around, I'd say about 5 years ago. Let's go back to that timeline, right? So I'm building my business. I'm doing my thing, right? I'm running this giant company. And it's been quite a few years now that my husband left me, and he moved out of state, okay? And we were together almost 20 years. And all he wanted was my time. And here's what I said: not yet. It's coming. It won't always be like this. And while that hurt really bad, I just put my head down and I kept on building. And it was 2 weeks after he left me that I found out I was pregnant. And so I freaked out for a second, put my head down, went right back to building. And I'm really good at avoiding all of my problems by just working harder. So I'm a realtor, exactly. So I was just crazy focused, right? I was like, I have to build faster, I have to make more money. This is what's gonna solve all of my problems, right? This was my mentality. And so, this is exactly 5 years ago. I look up, I take a peek up, and I look around. And I look at where I'm at in life, right? And I ask myself those questions I brought up to you guys at the beginning. And I realize that I was not raising my daughter, let alone any parent, okay? And I realized that I had missed the first 4 years of her life. And I realized that I let my husband just walk out the door. And I realized that I was so stressed by the weight of the responsibility of my company and taking care of everyone in it that I forgot to check if I was okay. And I forgot to check if my family was okay. So here I am, right? I'm building this massive company. I'm thinking that it's the solution to create exactly what I'm looking for in life, right? And in pursuit of building my business, I end up building my own prison, okay? My husband leaves me. I'm raising my daughter on my own from day one, right? It's just her and I. I'm 0% present, by the way. I have what I consider my midlife crisis, okay? I decide to leave the company that I built for 14 years from the ground up. So this is when I had to make that decision. So when I hit all this realization, and when I was at a point in my life where I could ask myself those questions and have it actually make sense to me, and I actually looked up and I realized what was going on, that's when I lost all satisfaction in what I was doing. And I made the decision to leave the company that I had built from the ground up for 14 years. Now, this was a successful company. It was my entire life, and it was all of my financial means. And so while I'm going through this whole transition process, right? I'm going through this whole transitional phase. I'm doing the separation, the buyout. That also didn't go so great, okay? So I had to make some more tough decisions. And instead of letting it drag out longer, I decided to leave and walk away with everything, with nothing. So I left by myself and no more income. You see, a lot of people, I think, believe that I might have come here with this big company, right? That I'm running with this big team already. But here's the reality. I had no idea that EXP even existed. I had no idea that we had this opportunity, this platform, because nobody told me. So here I am, I'm running with all of this, right? My husband leaves. I'm not present with my daughter. I decide to leave the company, right? It's what I call my midlife crisis. I leave my company, right, to start all over again, of which I got no money for after all that time. And just to make it even better, while I'm going through this weird transitional phase of my life, I get to deal with this really awesome lawsuit that cost me over $200,000 to fight, which was money I didn't have, by the way. So, I know I'm really bad at my slides, but has anyone ever had something really bad happen to them? Raise your hand. And how many of you, looking back, are like, that's the best thing that ever happened to me? Yes? Yes? So all of this, right, all of this stuff that I went through, it brought me to this blank slate. And with that blank slate, I was able to ask myself, okay, well, if I'm going to rebuild everything all over again from scratch anyways, how would I do it? And what's the biggest need in our industry? Because if you can fill that void, there is an incredible empire you can build and fulfillment and the impact you can have on others' lives. So I brought my business here. I launched my business by myself. It was a little over 3.5 years ago. It took me 7 months to recreate the company that previously took me 14 years. I get to work in my business the way that I want to, not because I have to. I only do what I love doing, right? And let me paint the picture of the true leverage that we have here, okay? I know there's other owners in here. I know there's big teams in here. I just shared with you guys, my overhead was $250,000 plus a month to run my franchise, okay? My business expenses now to run, I run a large organization of 600 plus agents, is less than $4,000 a month. I am no longer stuck, boots on the ground, in my business, my phone going off 24/7, okay? I get to travel, experience life with my daughter. I get to work from anywhere in the world. And I get to partner with agents and leaders all over the country because we want to build together. Not them work for me, not the other way around, right? And as a parent, you guys, as a mom, I think it's very easy for all of us to think that we have to sacrifice this to get that. Anyone with me? We think we have to sacrifice raising our families to build our businesses. Or we have to sacrifice building our business in order to raise our family. Well, anyone that knows me knows I'm that mom. I am crazy about my daughter. It's always just been her and I. And it's like pulling teeth to get me away from her, okay? I know that I could find help and I could hire help to help me with all the little things, right? To make it easier. But here's what's really cool. The little things are what's important to me. They are my non-negotiables. I know that it's a privilege that I get to raise my daughter every day. And it is a privilege that I get to get her ready, take her to school, and pick her up every day. It is my favorite thing to do in the whole world that I get to do. This slide would have been on that whole time. But guys, there's only so much time we get with our children. I get to do the things that I want to do and operate in my life and my business the way that I want to, okay? And I'm here to tell you right now that you can have both. And because I was able to have that blank slate and actually have time to think about things, actually think about what I wanted, actually think about what I wanted my life to be like, I found and got introduced to this platform and said, okay, well, with this platform, what am I actually trying to do with my life? How do I want to operate it? How do I want to live my life today? Not, am I going to eventually figure it out? We all know how that goes, right? And I was able to take all of this and look at what I actually wanted, and then I just built it all backwards and built that, not the other way around, okay? It was when I made the decision to put my needs first, my family's needs first, my dreams a priority, that my business took off. And I'm able to use this platform to help other people have the same opportunity. I'm very particular about where I spend my time, so I spend intentional time on building passive income every single day. You guys have to get serious about this, okay? You have to think about what's actually important to you, because what you intentionally focus on is what you will create. Okay? It's what you will create. This platform, so I always call EXP a business model. With the business model of EXP and the partners that I have in it, I was able to now have a platform that changed my life, and almost immediately. So this is my probably definition of what EXP's platform is as an opportunity to all of us, okay? It's an opportunity to own your own brokerage without all the overhead and liability, giving you an unlimited checkbook to hire all the best leaders and all of the best resources into your company, making it an undeniable value proposition for any agent, okay? Because there is not a single problem that the business model with all of your partners, you guys, we cannot solve for every single agent out there, every single team leader, and every single owner. This is what gives us a creative platform to build out our business and our life the way that we choose to, okay, the way that we choose to. So who are you leveraging to build what you want? Who are you leveraging? Because there is incredible power when you get into alignment with the right people. Incredible power. And you will be amazed at how quickly things will happen when you get into that alignment. Most of us, because we're all realtors, right, are stuck in this mindset as a 1099 contractor. And we think we got to figure it all out for ourselves, and we got to do it all ourselves. You are only not building because you don't know how to. All you have to do is actually do your homework and reach up and insert yourself into the business of your partners that are already building and leading, because they're all already doing it. We're already building. We're already doing it all. We're already leading people. You just have to actually reach up, insert yourself in, and plug in, okay? You have to get intentional with making the decision to change your life. You have to get intentional with the work that you have to do, and you have to get intentional with leveraging the right people to help you build your business, okay? So I would ask you guys, stop asking if it's going to be worth it, but instead, what's your life going to look like if you don't do it? I'm just gonna end with this. This is actually my favorite quote. This helped me break through, guys, when I was stuck. That's not a good feeling, right? I felt very stuck in my business and in my life, and I didn't know a way out. Have the courage to break the patterns in your life that are no longer serving you. So, thank you, guys. I hope to connect with a lot of you guys. I am an open book. I know this was just the story version. I am open book on how I build, how we work with our people, how we're working together as partners. A lot of people don't realize what they need to do. And so I'm an open book. You guys can reach out to me anytime. Tomorrow I will be speaking on a production-based piece in the morning. I know they'll talk about that, where I'm going to share some of the things that we do with our organization and with our agents to help them sell a lot of houses and build exactly what we're doing. So thank you so much, you guys. Thank you.
Give it up for Michelle Wilson.
Yeah, you guys are not going to want to miss it. We've got a lot of really good stuff in the morning that is just a bonus session that we put together, and I'm so excited about it. But she will, Michelle will be there talking about how to get listings, right?
Yep,
That's her
she's the king of listings.
Yeah. So we wanted to introduce the broker team.
Yeah, we want to give you an idea of who's actually supporting the back office here.
Yeah, we want to recognize our broker team. Can we have the lights on
Yeah,
a little
there we
brighter?
go.
Can we have our brokers in the back stand up? Emily Frazier, our
Woo!
head broker here.
Emily Frazier, give it up.
Can you guys see her?
Yep.
Okay,
Sure
Kelly Kanoa.
Oh.
You see
Kelly Kanoa?
Kelly, Blanche Jones,
Woo!
Isaiah Block,
Yep.
and Kamalani.
Yes.
Woo! Hey, I just want to say a little something. I mean, Chris doesn't work. I work with those guys every day. And I have to say, we get our contracts back so quickly. Don't you guys appreciate that? Like,
Yes.
so much? I mean, I really appreciate it. I feel like we have the best broker team I've ever seen, and I'm so grateful for them. And I don't think anybody abuses them more than I do. So thank you guys so much. I can't even thank you enough. So we wanted to make sure we recognize them today. They're all here. They're back there signing contracts, you guys. They're here, but you know they're signing contracts because that's all they do all day. So, and all night and all weekend.
Awesome. Anyway, one of the things I think is super challenging here, like, is very unique. Hawaii has to do where you have really hands-on. In a lot of other places, like in the mainland in California, realtors could write 3,000 offers in a day, and not one of them gets looked at, to be quite honest. So there's a lot of things that they're doing here for you guys, and I appreciate it because in the beginning when we were here, that was one of the biggest challenges that was really circulating a lot, that we didn't have the support, we didn't have the help, we didn't have the systems all in place to help
was
give you guys
rough.
that. It was super rough, and we put a lot of the weight on one person, which was challenging. And thank goodness we now have an amazing team. So thank you so much for you guys again for being what you do. We know it's hard work.
And supporting us today, too,
Yes.
you guys.
They're back there working right now, even in the dark. So awesome. I actually just had a good opportunity to meet him when I picked up from the airport, him and his girlfriend. And I hit it off instantly, not because we're both Asian, but because we just had a good time. And John Leahy is, he's from Maryland, but he started his real estate career when he was 24.
Did you hear that? Where's he from?
Maryland.
Where?
Maryland.
It's not close to here, you guys.
Yeah, it's far. He had to take a real long plane, 4 of them, and then do buses, and he lay over. No. But he did come a long ways to get out here. We appreciate that. Started a RE/MAX franchise, grew it to be the number 23 team in the country. So he knows what he's doing. He's built out a great business. He's traveled the world. He actually was a Tony Robbins coach trainer as well. So he traveled the world with Tony Robbins, did a lot of stuff on the mindset piece and really building into his business. So give it up for John Leahy, all the way from Maryland. Woo!
What's up, Hawaii? I always wanted to say that. What's up, Hawaii? You know what? It's amazing is because I was just on a phone call because one of my friends from Tony Robbins called me, and we talked for an hour about life and how 2023 was. The next thing I knew, I got a call from Shireen, and she's like, hey, I want to hear about you, and the next thing I know, I'm on a flight here, and I'm in front of you guys to talk about real estate and to talk about how to grow your business. Let's do this. All right.
All that glitters, glitters, glitters. One time for the money, two time for the love, three time for the beauty. These are the things that dreams are made of. One time for my body, two time for my soul, three time for my honey. All that glitters isn't gold. We've got to take our chances, can't always play it safe. Sometimes there's more to lose than innocence and saving face. Come be my great exception. Love can't be bought or sold. Don't need no diamond, honey. All that glitters isn't gold. All that glitters.
Guys, I am super grateful for what EXP has done for us. But let's start here. It was 3 years ago, April Fool's Day 2021. I was standing in line in Disney World, 105 degrees, it felt like, waiting in line for an hour and a half for a stupid ride. And I was like, why am I in line here? But 5 minutes, 10 minutes in, and the music got to me, right? Because they're playing music at Disney World, and I started getting inspired. So I posted that, because on April Fool's Day was the day we moved the number 23 team in the world for RE/MAX to EXP. So I posted one by one, all good things must come to an end, and all the things I'm grateful for, and all the things I'm grateful for from my team, to my clients, to all the things that we've built, and I ended with, and all good things must come to an end, and as of today, we are closed for business, and I went on the ride. And I was gone for 30 minutes, and everybody thought it was the craziest, stupidest, meanest joke. Everybody from RE/MAX was unhappy because they're like, what just happened? My sister called me, voicemail. She's like, are you okay? Are you okay? Like, your business is closed? And then, of course, then I posted the next one, which is, and as of today, we are now in business with EXP Realty, and now we are a Fine Living Group. Look at that. And what's amazing is, can you help me there? Oh.
All that glitters.
There you go. So a little bit about myself. I've achieved closed volume of over $500 million, sold over 1,700 homes in my career, recognized in 2022 Risk Media Newsmaker, consistently sells over 250 plus homes annually. I love EXP, EXP Icon Agents 21, 22, 23, and the next week I'll be 24 as well. Inducted to the RE/MAX Hall of Fame, best-selling author, blah, 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 blah. All this is cool, right? But here's what I'm gonna do today. How many of you had an awesome 2023? Congratulations, I did not. Congratulations. My 2023 was terrible. But today I'm going to tell you the 3 things that I did consistently. That's the key word, consistently, not just dreaming and inspired. I consistently did 3 things in 2023 that increased my business by over 50% in 2024. I'm going to share that with you guys. All right, but let's turn back the clock. All right, so it was the end of 2020. Remember, I moved to EXP in 2021. It was the end of 2020, and at that time, it was my team. We were doing awesome, and I had helped build out 3 other teams at RE/MAX in my brokerage, kind of like what Michelle did. I was like living an amazing life, and I had helped so many team leaders. In this case, they grew from nothing to successful teams. And I remember it was November 2020. I walked into the office one day, and my top team had left the office overnight because he had received a signing bonus from somebody else. A week later, Team 2 and Team 3, I walked into the office one morning. Team number 2, the team leader was already in my office, and he's like, hey, John, we got to talk. I'm going somewhere else. And as he had left my office, team number 4 was outside the door waiting and telling me, hey, John, I'm going back to my old company. And basically, in a matter of a week to 10 days, we had lost 3/4 of our team, of our company, our brokerage. And I said to myself, there's gotta be a better way. This stinks. I thought to myself, I'm like, what if I have to do this all over again? Would I do it? The answer was simple, hell yeah. I would do this all over again. I love helping people build, and be more successful. But I'm like, there's gotta be a better way, because this kind of stinks, right? It wasn't like I recruited one team leader. It took me like months to recruit him, and then it took me like months to train him, and out of like overnight, gone. How many of you ever had experiences like that before, where you're like, do I want to do this all over again? But you're still here, right? So obviously you said yes to that. But what's cool is my failure turned into a blessing. Had those team leaders never left, I would have never moved to EXP. Because I would have 99% chance renewed my franchise at Remax. Some of you are going through failures and pain today, and you're like, oh my gosh, this is terrible. But I'm telling you right now, sometimes your failures are actually blessings in disguise. You just don't see the other side just yet. Had I not lost those team leaders, I wouldn't be here today. I'd probably still be where I was before, not making rev share, not having all these stocks, not building. And in 12 months, this is my 3rd year, so this is my 12 months number. I went from 20 agents to 60 agents. I had opened up a team in Southern Florida. I opened up a fine living group in San Diego. I have no office in the DMV in DC, Maryland, Virginia. My San Diego team has an office. I never go to that team office because that's a 6-hour flight away from me, or 5 hours away. I don't go there. But my team in San Diego has an office in 12 months. Right now, we're at 100 agents in my rev share group. Yes, Brent's like, you can do better than that. I'm like, yeah, of course I can do better, but I'm going to celebrate what I got right now because that's pretty awesome if you ask me. But then 2023 happened. 2023 happened. I texted my number one agent on the team. I was like, bro, pray for me. So that I'm like, I need to share my story. And he's like, bro, you got it. Just tell everybody here about how you just survived the worst year of your life. 2023, by far, if you look at the data and the stats, was probably the worst year of my life. My dog died. My marriage died. Here, let me share with you. Interest rates went up. There are less buyers. There are less sales. Requires more work. What else? Oh, 42% of our agents quit the business or quit the team or quit EXP and they went somewhere else. But not all of them went to the same place. They all just went scattered everywhere else. Oh, and then our business surprisingly also went down by the same exact percentage, 42%. And you're like, what the hell did you do? And here's what I found out. Successful people will do what unsuccessful people are not willing to do. A lot of my agents were just wishing things were easier when the times got harder. I was like that too. I was like, man, I wish it was easier. I wish things just got better and easier and I didn't have to do anything. But you know what? Don't wish it was easier. Wish you were better. Just wish you were better. And guys, the fact that you are here today is amazing because you guys aren't just like, hey, I just want to be fed the business. And no, you're coming here because you want to get better, right? So give yourself a hand for being here because honestly, that's the hardest thing every single day is showing up and being here. And you're doing better than your competition because you're here, right? So here's the lessons that I learned in 2023 that I just started doing every single day. Number one, I start celebrating the little things, celebrating the win. How many of you are team leaders here? Any team leaders? Yeah, team leaders, business owners. You are leading somebody. You're leading your family. You're a leader of something, right? Number one, celebrate the win. When the times are easy, it's easy to celebrate the win, right, guys? Like it's easy because you have like deals coming in, you have closings coming in. When my team went from 30 deals a month to 8 in November of 2022, I was like, holy shoot. This is gonna be hard. Doo-doo. Oh yeah, it's gonna be hard, right? But as a leader, your job is to help find the win. What's the win for your team? What's the win for your family? And help focus on that. Where focus goes, energy flows, guys. If you're focusing on the things that are going wrong, you know what's gonna happen? More things are gonna go wrong. When you focus on the wins, the little wins, when you're focusing the fact that, you know what, I'm healthy today. You're focusing on the gratitude. You're focusing on the wins. What's going to happen is you're going to have more things to celebrate about. So what I started doing is start celebrating my agents. I was like, you know what? You did good. You got 2 testimonials. I'm going to give you shout outs. So I started giving shout outs to my agents. At some points during the year in 2023, I felt like I was an imposter because there were weeks where we had nothing to celebrate about. How many of you ever had that moment when you're like, there's really nothing to celebrate about, but you got to find something to smile about, right? There were months where my shout out board, and I looked at it, and this is, by the way, this is a 1-week shout out from last week. This is like yesterday's shout out from my team, right? If you look at that, that's real data right there. 19 testimonials in a freaking week. What? Wow. 19 testimonials, 9 testimonials, 1 closed, 3 testimonials. She's been in the business for like 3 months. She just bought a new car. She already bought a new house. She already closed deals. Guys, celebrating the win works. You start celebrating the win, more things happen, right? This is our top agents for the month. This is our top agents lunch. We start celebrating everything. I was like, you know what? Let's find more things to celebrate. Yes, there are times where I'm like, that's a tough week. And you know what I'm talking about, right? In real estate, how many of you wanted to fire everybody and just quit real estate? Yeah, I've had that moments. But you're the leader. You control the story. You're like, you know what? No, there's got to be something to celebrate about. Lesson number 2, you got to have fun. You got to have fun. This is what all about EXP. EXP is full of fun people. It was like month number 1 at EXP, and I got invited to Cabo, and I'm like, Cabo? Really? I'm going to Cabo? This is like year number 3, I'm speaking in Hawaii. I'm like, this is awesome, right? We're having fun. Guys, if you're not having fun, don't do this. There's a saying, Jack Canfield said that. He said, if it's not fun, it's not worth doing. But what's fun is up to you. It's your focus. Your focus on whether it's fun or not, it's you, right? Do you enjoy it? So what we did, and I'm sorry for the formatting here, we just started gamifying every activity, even the activities that I didn't have fun with, like hosting an open house. We started putting points on everything for our agents to do. And I said, hey guys, you can be a top producer. And remember, 2023, the first 6 months of our year, was the worst year, slowest year of my career. And I was licensed in 2008 when the market crashed. And I said, you can be a top producer because obviously none of you are top producers right now. So I started saying, you doing the activities, you get 75 points, we're doing top producer lunch. So because you can qualify as a top producer, I love it too. I love you. Top producer is top producer based on activities showing up on your activities consistently. And I was like, do this. Every single month, you get 75 points. I'm inviting you to top producer lunch. And there were months where I had 2 agents who produced, and I had 5 invitees who had no closings, no contracts, but they showed up on the activities. You know what happened? Month number 2, month number 3, and they kept on showing up. Month number 4, by month number 5, the agents who just showed up on activities every single month, their pipeline became full. Agents who had no business for months, but they kept on doing the right activities every single month. You know what happened? 2 closings, 3 closings. December, my agent, out of nowhere, she had 3 closings. January, 3 closings. February, 3 closings. Do you know why? She kept on showing up. You know what else we did? We did we had a trip. We decided, you know what? Let's have fun because we want to have fun. So midway through 2023, again, it was the worst year of my life, and I'm like, I don't even know how I'm going to pay for this trip. This trip is actually, it just ended 2 weeks ago, last week. But we did one for Nashville in 2023 where I said, hey guys, if you close 12 deals from July 1st till December 31st, I'm going to take you to Nashville for 2 nights. I'm not paying for your drinks, I am not paying for your food, but I'm going to fly you there, and I'm going to pay for your hotel, and then we're just going to have fun together. And they're like, yeah, let's do it. 6 of them qualified. 6. We had the worst start to the year. The last 6 months of the year, our business went up 50% because we started having fun. We started celebrating the win. We started showing up. Guys, it's doable, but you have to have fun. So right now, we have a spring contest, and it just ended May 1st, April 30th. It says right there, January 1st to April 30th. And I said, and I did the math. I'm like, my best year ever, my top producer between January 1st and April 30th closed 8. So I said, hey, I challenge you guys, if you do 8, I'm gonna take you. This time I'm not flying anybody, but we're gonna drive 2 hours, an hour and a half, and we're gonna go to a hotel, a Hyatt Regency Golf and Spa in Maryland, and we're gonna have fun together, we're gonna mastermind, we're gonna celebrate everything that you've accomplished in that first quarter-ish of the year. Remember, my best year ever, only 1% ever sold 8 homes in a quarter. You know how many people qualified? 4 qualified. 4 qualified in that first quarter. I was like, wow. You know what you guys just need? You just need goals. And you just need to have fun. And if you're a leader, you help people have goals, right? You show them where to go. This is, can we play that video for me? This is our trip to Nashville. We had a lot of fun. We did bar hopping. We hopped over like nightclubs. We barely slept. I fell asleep at bars. And in the middle of doing all this, guys, we build relationships. We build a culture. We make people feel like, oh my gosh, I'm missing out. I don't want to miss out anymore. I want to be part of that team. Our team grew. Lesson number 3, and write this down. There will be days where you just don't love people and you just want to fire everybody because they suck. They don't listen to you. I'm like, what the hell are you doing? That's not my system. That's not my process. Do it right. But here, love on your people. Shout them out. Love on them. Our number 1 core value on our team is love, care, and serve. Just love on people. It's not that hard. It is hard. But you just have to remind yourself, because if you don't do it, who's going to do it? Do you want the other team leader across the office from you to love on your people more than you do, and then your agents leave you? You might as well. It's easy to love. It's just like you shout them out. I text people, hey, you know what I love about you? I texted to one of my top agents. I was like, you know what I love about you? You always showed up for your daughter. I'm sure she's proud of you. She texted me back the next day. She's like, oh my gosh, you don't understand how much I needed that. It's free to love on people. Don't forget that. The end of the day, just love on people. Love on your people. What we started doing in 2024, coming into 2024, my theme was, I'm just going to give it all away. Not the money, like we need the money, right? But giving all that I know away, and let's just love on people. And so in 2024, we did a client party. And you probably have heard this before, like, hey, do client parties. Well, it's easier said than done. I know I was supposed to do it for years. I just haven't done it. And we finally did it again. The client party. Do you have the client party video there? So we did a wine tasting party at a winery last month. And we invited our VIP buyers and sellers. Some of them we haven't seen in like 3-4 years. Some of them we haven't seen because of COVID or whatever else. You know what's cool about that? They showed up. They showed up. They loved on us. We posted on social media. We got referrals out of it. We loved on them. And one of them was, what I didn't know, was the head of the HR for the National Science Foundation. And we got a free booth to talk to their whole company office because we threw a party for our clients. The little things matter, guys. So I want to close out with this. One of my biggest beliefs is what Maya Angelou said. How many of you know Maya Angelou? This is an awesome truth that she spoke here on your screen. People don't care what you say. People don't remember what you promise. Some of your clients don't remember your name. They don't remember how much money you saved them. They don't remember how much they paid you. They don't remember nothing. But they remember if you make them feel loved. And if you make them feel loved, they will stay with you forever. They will tell the world about you. And you know what else? What's cool? If you make your agents feel loved, your rev share is going to grow. Your team's going to grow. Your business is going to grow. Just love on people. 2023 May, here's what I'm going to close with. In 2023 May, I was in Orlando. And one of the agents said, hey, John, how come you don't speak on stage anymore? Because I had decided to just retire from like being on stage. And I was like, you know what? I don't feel like being on stage anymore. She's like, you should be on stage. You should talk. So I made it intention in my heart. I said, you know what? In the next 12 months, God willing, I'm going to be on stage. I'm going to speak and share and contribute again. Guys, if you believe it, if you can focus on it, it can happen. I'm here before you, and I just want to say thank you for listening to me. I hope I've given you something of value. Thank you.
Give it up for John Leahy. What a great job. All the way from Maryland. I got an idea. We should do a trip out here, too. Whoever does the most deals will give you a trip to Hawaii. That's a pretty good deal, right? I mean, I'm thinking, come on.
I remember when I moved here, I heard on the radio, la 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 on the radio, and win a trip to Las Vegas. And I was like, what? Because living in the mainland my whole life, it was win a trip to Hawaii. And I got here, I was like, what? Yeah. Anyway, Hawaii's way better than Vegas, you guys. I wanted to give all these clues. I'm so mad they went and gave my secret away. Yeah. Dang it. Anyway, I want to talk a little bit about this guy behind me there. Just some really fun facts about this guy that I wanted to share, and I wanted to have you guess who he was, and now you all know. But did you know that Tony's played the piano for 45 years? I didn't even know he was that old. Good God, I would love to hear it. He also learned to read the Bible in Greek and Hebrew for his master's degree. Can you even imagine? Like 2 words is what I got. And then his team last year of just 12 agents, they sold $127 million in 2023, you guys.
Yeah.
You know what a tough year that was. So anyway, and also we were so blessed to have Tony come into EXP in Hawaii. I really feel like it lit a whole new fire. And I'm so happy that Tony is with us. So where is that guy? Tony Kawaguchi, get over here.
Give it up for Tony Kawaguchi.
Also, I think the first agent I met when I moved here.
Maybe I'll trade mics. Okay. Hi. Hey. So I am the opposite of Dylan. Everything you heard from Dylan, I am the polar opposite. Just go back a little bit. I was born in Japan. I learned how to speak English when I was 5. My parents moved me to California, where everyone was white. And my earliest memories as a child, I remember everybody would just always say to me, go back to China. You go back to China. And I'm like, man, these racists are so bad at geography. I'm from Japan. It's not the same, you dummy. If you're English, I don't tell you, go back to Russia. Never even been to China. Anyway, I learned how to speak English as a kid, had a really rough childhood. Single mom with an abusive boyfriend. I started drinking and smoking weed when I was like 12. I can't even imagine that now because I have kids. You know, even at like 14, I look at them, I can't even imagine them being as bad as I was. If there was an award for least likely to succeed, I probably would have won it. I graduated from high school with hair down to my butt, really long. I was a really pretty girl. And sometimes when people see my senior picture, they look at it and they go, did you have a sister? And I go, yeah, she died. I cut off her hair and then she died. A lot of people think I grew up here. Right. Some of you just now found out that I'm not from here, though you can tell by the way I talk. I can fake pigeon, but it's really ugly, so I don't do it. But I moved here in 2005 with my beautiful wife and a little 1-year-old. My wife's right there. Hi. So I moved here in 2005. I knew about 2 people on the island, almost nobody. But I was scared because what was I going to do for work? I wasn't sure. I had sold real estate in California, worked great there. But I didn't know anybody, I didn't have a sphere, I had nobody to build business with. I joined Remax 808, which doesn't exist anymore, but one of the Remaxes that went out of business. And man, I was so scared, and I knew, okay, this is how much money I need to make. We came here and rented for a little while. My rent was $2,500, which back then was a lot. Now that's like a few dinners out. And I told myself, all right, if I got to pay all our bills and we're going to have more kids, I got to sell 10 houses, maybe 12. And back then, median prices were about $500,000. That was you could buy a house in Cocoa Head Terrace for $500,000 back then. Yeah. Everybody back then, everybody that knows that time goes, I should have bought 10, right? 20 years from now, we'll be saying the same thing. I should have bought 10 in 2024. Trust me. And so I just decided I'm going to do anything. Absolutely anything. Whatever my broker tells me, whatever I read online, whatever I can think of to do, I'm going to do everything. So I door knocked Hawaii Kai, door knocked Cocoa Head Terrace, if you can imagine, in the summer. I was even more tan than this. Yes, I went surfing today. But I'm not like Dylan. I don't wake up at 5 a.m. I'm like a 7:30 to 8 guy. Maybe go surf a little bit, work for a little while, maybe go surf again. The reason I tell you that is a lot of times you hear these speakers up here, and John sounds amazing, Dylan's obviously amazing. The vast majority of people never build teams and reach the level of success that those guys do. Most people are not going to lead a team of 1,000 sales. So you hear that, and you might be discouraged. I'm just a surfer from California. I don't think of myself as like super driven. I do work hard. But for the first 10 years of my life of working, my work was based on fear. I was just afraid to not be able to provide for my kids. Then we had another kid, and I'm like, oh man, more money. And then we had another kid. Oh my gosh, more money. I got to make more money. And I was just afraid, and so I would work, and I would sit at my desk and work until I could figure out an escrow. I would cold call my friends that I'd call people that I met at church. I coached 2 soccer teams without having a kid on the team. So a lot of people thought maybe I was like a weird child predator, but no, I just wanted to do your real estate business. I don't want to touch your kids. I want to sell you a house. The first team that I coached in Hawaii Kai, I got the business from 5 out of 6 families. One of them sold a house in Portlock, bought a condo downtown, and sold that condo again. That one client was worth $6 million in volume. And by the way, I had never coached soccer or played soccer in my life. Yeah. On that team, I had a doctor, Dr. Graham Cormack at Queens. He's like, you're the best soccer coach we ever had. His daughter just won nationals this year with her school. She's in a travel team, but she goes to HBA. And I sold him a house on Kamehameha Ridge for $1.5 million. Sold him a condo in town for his mother. I am not what you would normally consider like the typical realtor. I never have been. I always wanted to work less. I think Dylan said something about, you want to work less. And I'm like, I want to work less. I always wanted to work less. But I was so afraid to work less that I worked more. I was afraid to not be able to provide for my kids. So my wife will tell you, like, I would sit there and work, but my main motivator was, please, God, don't let us be homeless. I really don't want to have homeless kids. I experienced a little bit of homelessness when I was a kid, and I didn't want them to do that. I've eaten out of dumpsters. I pulled the Entenmann's out of the dumpster behind Safeway and ate it. I drank the Corona that they had thrown out. This is in the 90s when children were allowed to do anything. Just no car seats, nothing, just let them go, bye. Yeah. So after I built up my business, so I started in 2005. Around 2010, I got this. They used to have a Top 100 Realtors Award, which they don't do anymore, and I'm really glad they don't do it. It's really kind of weird that we all rank each other by production. Because just because you sell a lot doesn't make you a good realtor. There's a lot of good realtors, a lot of the best ones that provide the best service sell 6 to 10 homes a year. And a lot of the ones who sell, I sold 50 by myself. Like, yeah, but can you do a good job? To me, I thought the awards were silly, so I would go up and get my award, but I always felt like, I don't know what we're doing here. And then it kind of caused this weird thing where, people would put sales in their name that weren't really theirs, and I fell into that. And I was working for fear and money. The first 10 years of my career, I just wanted money. I wanted to make millions of dollars, even though I had already made my first million when I was about 30. But I just wanted to make more money. And then, once we had 3 kids, and I was really involved in trying to stay involved in their lives. I realized, now I really need more time. And so I got so blessed. I ran into my friend, Chelsea Fershie, who's in the back there, in a parking lot, I think. And she said, I got my real estate license. I'm going to work at C21. And I was like, why don't you come work with me? Had no plan. Never really thought about it. I've never been a planner. Never, ever done any business planning until maybe the last 5 years. So, you don't have to do everything that people tell you to succeed. That's part of my point. I hired Chelsea. She's been with me as part of my team for 10 years. She's made hundreds of thousands of dollars. She's mentoring 20 people. She's now coaching my team on how to close leads. None of that was planned, right, Chelsea? None of that. We never planned ahead. It was just like react as things happen. But the reason I brought Chelsea on is I wanted more time. And Chelsea remembers that first year in 2014, we drove all over this stupid island. We were like, all right, we're going to a listing appointment. Now we got to go to an inspection. Now we're going to a closing. I remember some days, Chelsea, we get in my Toyota Tacoma, because no matter how much money I make, I'm still pake, even though I'm Japanese. Oh, so for you mainlanders, pake is like what the mainland equivalent of, I don't know, just like stingy or miser? I don't know. Anyway, I still shop at Ross and TJ Maxx. I don't have to. I just like it. Makes me happy to save money. Sorry. So I hired Chelsea. We drove all over the place. And another friend of mine who unfortunately isn't on my team anymore, but I started working for time. So for 10 years, I worked for money. And then I had plenty of money. And then I started working for time. All right, I got to build a team. So we added a very beautiful, wonderful young lady who called me and asked me if she could be a realtor and join my team. And I said, no thanks. And no, actually, really what I said is, well, I just got done training Chelsea for like a year. I don't think I can train you, so why don't you go to Coldwell Banker? They have a training program, and then come back to me. So Jennifer Haole went to Coldwell, then went to C21. They told her she wasn't good enough to stay there. Truly, they said she was a liability. She joined my team. Within about a year, she was our top agent and has sold 20 million consistently. Yeah, she's amazing. Then we built up our team. We added a really great guy named Jim Muneno, who was my daughter's kindergarten classmate's dad. We went out for coffee, and I'm like, man, why don't you come work for me? I haven't thought about this for even 5 minutes. How would this probably work out? Fine. He's like, okay, well, let's give it a try. So I hired him. Had no idea what the heck I was doing. And then COVID happened, and that was fun. COVID was great. And then my broker left. This is when we were at Elite Pacific, which became Corcoran. My broker there left and went to Compass, and she said, don't come to Compass. I'm like, what? She's like, you guys, you should go to EXP. Call Gene Frederick. I'm like, what's EXP? Who's Gene Frederick? I don't know what we're talking about. So I called him up, did a couple of Zoom calls with him. I didn't know anybody on the island at EXP. By the way, life lesson, Shereen Duncan, can we just roll back time so that you could call me in 2019 or 20, so that you could have called? I mean, like, that would have been so fun. So if you're thinking about calling somebody about EXP and you're not doing it, just remember that was me. I was the guy that didn't get the call. Nobody in Hawaii called me. John Ballesteros was calling everybody, never called me. Funny story, yep. Nobody called me. It's a funny thing. And they probably didn't call me because they thought, well, he's making too much money. He's happy, he's got a team. That's why they should have called me. Hello. So we bring our team of 4 from Elite Pacific. We were only doing like 40, 50 million. We were doing great. It was fine. Had plenty of money. Still not quite enough time, but we come to EXP and boom, we blow up. I mean, our team went from 4 to 6 to 8 to 10 to 12 in 2 to 3 years, and expanded to the other islands, which I never would have done at another company. You can't do it at other companies because it's different brokerages, right? The KW on Maui is not the same as here. The Caldwell on Big Island is not the same as here. So EXP is the one place where you can be nationwide and have. Dylan just said he's moving his team to somewhere on the mainland. I forget where he said, Washington. But you can go anywhere. You can have a nationwide team, which sounds like a lot of work, actually. I don't want to do that at all. And I'm trying to be real with you because 99.999% of agents, and yes, I did the math because there's 90,000 EXP agents and there's, 3 million realtors. The vast majority are not going to have a team. They're not going to do 1,000 sales. They just want to pay their bills. They just, can we just sell 20 homes and have some extra money? Is kind of how, who feels me on that? Who's like, I don't want to build a team. I just want to, if I could just sell 20 or 25 homes and have a nice life, I'd be so happy. I mean, how many of you felt that way, really? Like, be honest. The rest of you are liars. So, because I know even John Leahy, he and I seem to be living similar lives in terms of our teams and stuff, but I know if there was a way to make it easier, we'd both want to try to make it easier. But then I discovered something. All right. Once we got to 100+ million and a dozen agents on our team and 150, 180 now in my revenue share group, I realized something. There's a reason why movie stars overdose and they're on drugs, is they have too much money and too much time and no purpose. There's a reason why people like Robin Williams, drugs, Matthew Perry, drugs, so many people. What's missing? You guys, now the pastor in me is going to come out. Money will never bring you the happiness that you're looking for. It will always leave you empty. That pursuit, more and more and more money, just the love of money will destroy you. And there's nothing wrong with money. I make a lot of it, have a lot of it. There's nothing wrong with it. A lot of rich people in the Bible. But if that's your main thing, if that's your goal, it's like, I'm working for the money, you're going to burn out. And then when you have enough money and you go, I'm working for my time, and you get all your time back and you have a lot of extra time, the boredom will kill you. Because too much time, you get bored, you'll be listless. Is that the right word? Listless? And you won't know what to do with yourself. And I realized this pretty recently. I only shared it with my wife this week. I realized this week that because of the model of EXP, I found something different. And what it was for me is building up the people. There's so much more joy now for me and fulfillment in helping the people that I work with build their lives. See, I used to think I want to be a millionaire. And now I think I want to make millionaires. I want to make the young girl that I didn't hire, Jen Hole, just bought her 4th house in Hawaii and is having her 5th child and getting a 2nd dog, her 3rd dog. When I met her, she was a school teacher making $35,000 a year. School teachers are way underpaid. They should get paid commission based on how well their students do in life. Chelsea, the first person that I hired in the back, is mentoring 20 people. She brought 2 guests here from Georgia and Washington because she's going to help them mentor people. We're building up people. And here's the crazy, this is what's wild. This is what I just discovered recently because, I'm not very smart. It took me a long time to figure this out. When you focus on the people, the other stuff comes. The money comes, the teams grow, the sales come, the listings come. When you focus on the money, your clients can feel it, right? When you walk in and you're like all about the listing and you're selling it and this is why you should work with me and I want this much my commission, they feel it, that's what you want is the money. When you're talking to an agent about their brokerage and your goal is, I want to make more revenue share, they can feel that. They can tell you want them for you, right? I want you to join me because look what I'm doing. You can hear it when in public speakers sometimes. It's all about them. But when you focus on the person, Mr. Seller, I want to help you solve your problem, make as much as you can, get your home sold as easily. I hear what you're saying. These are the things you're concerned about. Those are the things I'm now concerned about. Let me help you reach your goals. This last week, a guy called me about a house, and we talked for like an hour. And he goes, I talked to him last night. He goes, we didn't talk to anybody else. We didn't shop around at all. But we want to work with you. Awesome. And he goes, what do you charge, 6%? And yeah, something like that. He goes, yeah, great. Because we talked for like an hour about all of his stuff, all of his goals. This morning I talked to an agent in Huntsville, Alabama. Terry in Huntsville, Alabama, who is at a super cheap brokerage. His brokerage, get this, they charge him $170 per transaction and 5%. And he doesn't sell that much. He would never cap at EXP. He doesn't sell $3 million. It takes $3 million to cap, 3.2 roughly. And he doesn't cap. So I thought, well, I don't know why I'm talking to you. But someone told me to call you, so I'm talking to you. And I thought, well, I don't know. I'll just talk to him anyway. So I said, well, tell me about you, Terry. Tell me about your life. What do you like to do? What are you into? And, oh, I'm a veteran, and I do the blah, blah, blah. And I go, well, what do you think about mentoring? Do you like to mentor? Oh, I love mentoring. I love teaching people. Oh, did you know EXP has a mentoring program? You can make lots of money in a different way. You could stop selling someday. Oh, yeah, that's interesting. What do you think about more passive income? Oh, I'd love to have passive. Oh, well, let me tell you about revenue share. Okay, cool. And at the end of the call, he's like, man, you've really piqued my interest. At the beginning of the call, I almost ended it. Because he said he was at this ultra cheap brokerage and selling and happy and fine, and I'm not really thinking about moving. And I just thought, let me hear about him and see if I hear anything in his story that fits what I can do for you, right? And man, you take that approach with your agents, with your clients. Look, almost everybody in here is probably a solo agent. Probably should partner up and have like one person that you work with. Honestly, that's a lot better than working completely alone. Man, if you just focus, like look at the person next to you. Who comes to mind is like, this is my person that I can partner with. You're thinking about like a list of people you want to attract to EXP. Like, how can you help them? Don't think about like, I'm going to make revenue share because I'm going to bring you over. Man, you're a jerk. Oh, that was me. Sorry. The first few months at EXP, I was like clueless, man. I think a lot of people thought I was a jerk. And now I realize it can't be about me at all. It can't be about me with listings, can't be about me with buyers, it can't be about me with agent attraction, with team building, with my team agents, with anything. If I just focus on the people around me and helping them grow, helping them do what they want to do and reach their goals, everything else comes. Thank you very much.
Give it up for Tony. Back in 2000, before the crash, I used to have a sign in my office that says, I'm making $1 million. And every morning I'd come in, I'd actually jump and hit it. That was my goal. It's a horrible goal because I literally spent most of my time in my office sleeping there where my 4 or 5-year-old son was sleeping on the couch. That's how bad that was. My priorities were completely screwed up, to be honest, but I was living and working for the money and not for actually helping change people's lives. And now we're in a place where we're doing that, which is why we create this event like this so we can pour into you guys and add value. That's what this is all about. Our last and final speaker is the guy that, I don't think it's really hard to even, how do you talk about this man? I've known Brent for 15 years, and interesting like how our stories connected, but we both were team leaders back in Keller Williams. This guy was the #1 RE/MAX agent in the country. When he got to Keller Williams, he had a $100 million producing team. So by no means was this guy a slacker. And if you guys know Brent, he's the most relentless person I've ever met in my life. He's like that fly in the window who never gives up. And he's never, ever, ever thought about how to get stuff done. He's constantly throwing things at me like Build and all these other events and says, do it. And I'm like, okay, great. And I have no idea how it's going to happen, but it just happens because that's how he's led his whole life. And that's why he's super successful. But he's got 8 children, beautiful children. The guy has the heart of gold. He will take his shirt off literally for you, and do everything. He has literally spoken to me from day one and said, Chris, I'm always here for you. I got your back. I'll always do whatever it takes. And I've called him literally like 1 in the morning, 2 in the morning, and he's answered his phone, and he's talked, and he's texted back. He never has let me down by any means, and I think he's let you down ever. I can't say enough about the man because he's changed my life. Fuck. Dude, I love you. Break Goof! Give it up!
All right. Wow. I've never been called a fly in the window and gotten the F-bomb on the introduction. I don't know what's going to happen. How you guys doing today? Okay, real quick, everyone stand up. Stand up real quick. Stand up. Stretch your body out. Come on, stand up. She's been here for a few. We'll be out of here by midnight, I promise. Stretch. Oh, get your body moving. All right, sit back down. Sit back down. All right. So first thing I want to say is, wow, what a great leadership. The Hawaii brokers in the back, the team, Shireen and Tony and Chris and Dylan, and I don't want to leave me. There's so many people. What a great group you have here. Look around this room. This is awesome. This room will never be this. Next year, we're going to open this wall, and it'll go that way. It's a movement. You know what it is? When I was at Remax for 12 years and Keller Williams for 10 years, for decades, and it was just about commission splits and how many homes can you sell, baby? Commission splits and how many homes can you sell, baby? But here, it's agents helping agents. It's agents loving agents. It's bringing value. And so today, we hope to do a lot of that. Real quick, I want to start with who's in the room. It's a little game I like to play. I like to know, who are you sitting next to? Because you may not realize who you're sitting next to. So if you have sold 5 homes in your career or more, stand up. 5 or more homes. 5 or more. Should be a lot of you. Stand up. I want to see. All right, 5 or more homes. The rest of you are brand new. 5. Stay standing. 5 or more homes. If you've sold 20 or more homes, stay standing. If you've sold 40 or more homes, stay standing. 80 or more homes, stay standing. Wow, look around the room. You didn't know some of these people next to you sold 80 homes. I remember when I was new, you sold 80 homes? Like, what is that? Like, right? It's like Diamond Head. It's big. And who sold over 150 homes? Stay standing, 150. Room's thinning out here. It's pretty awesome. Get to know these people. Like, oh, they're standing right by me. I didn't even know. Who are you, Give them a hand. Good job, everyone. Now, if you flew here and it took more than 4 hours to fly here, which pretty much whatever direction you're coming from, I don't know, it's going to be over 4 hours, right? If you flew here, it'd be an interesting flight otherwise. But if you flew over 4 hours, stand up real quick. Stand up. I want to see 4 more hours to get here. All right. We're just going to hype it up. 10 or more hours to get here. 10 or more hours. Wow. Where are you from? North Carolina? Give them a hand. My neighbors in Puerto Rico came. I love you guys. I ratted them out. Puerto Rico, Nolly and Josie Williams. Love them. How about in the back over there, far left? Oh, you're going to cut in front of him. Is that how this is? All right, so where'd you say you're from? Ohio. Yeah, roll Tide. I was just messing with you. Are you both from Ohio? Good. And how about you? Southern Oregon. Well, no wonder they cut in front of you. That's not that far. Just kidding, man. Good job. And is anybody else standing? Oh, right here. Mr. Jonathan Leahy came from Maryland, baby. Oh, in the middle? Oh, you're a photographer. Okay. Oh, in the back over there. Georgia? Awesome. Welcome. Now, photographers are important. Where are you from? Kansas. Yes! Lucky guess. You're not in Kansas anymore. And there could be people in the back, and I'm looking hard, but we'll do. Okay. All right. Well, welcome. It's so good to have you here. So I have a question for you. Write this down. Ready? Where are you going with your life? I think Michelle Wilson did a fantastic job kind of putting that question to you. Where are you going? Are you even headed in the right direction? Do you really want to be a commercial real estate agent? Do you really want to be a luxury real estate agent? Do you really want to sell 25 homes a year like Tony Kawaguchi said? Is that something you really want to do? I bet you some of you need to save your marriage this year. That'd be the coolest thing you could do. Some of you are like, I'm going to sell 50 homes. I'm going to sell 100. I'm going to sell 1,000. And there's nothing wrong with any of those goals. They're each person's goals. But no matter what they are, you do it with love. Write that one down. No matter what you do it with love. Go ahead, I got time. Let's clap for it. You guys are taking notes. That was good. Because do you ever know someone, they come in the door, you go to a party, you're somewhere, and then so-and-so walks in, and everyone's like, oh my gosh, so-and-so's here. What is it about so-and-so that everybody loves them? They walk in the room, it just lights up. They lift the room with their very presence. What is that? It's love. It's they accept and love everybody where they're at. Now, I'm not a pastor in the traditional sense of the word, but I've read my Bible, and Jesus hung out with prostitutes and tax collectors. And I think when Jesus cruised in the room and they were there, he lifted them up. He didn't condemn. Whoa. He didn't condemn them. He loved them. And if you want to live an incredible life with purpose, passion, destiny, a life that isn't one of quiet desperation, don't die with your music in you. You know how you don't die with your music in you? You love, you give, you serve. You do what you can, when you can, for anyone you can, without expecting anything in return. When you start living like that, you're going to be happy. You know the best Christmas ever for my family? It was 2010. No? Think about that. I think it was 2011. We had been devastated by the market. California, the market changed in 2005. And I started losing 50, 60, 70,000 a month, every month. I mean, 2005, 2006, 2007, 2008, it just kept going. My overhead wasn't as bad as Michelle's, but it's 128,000 a month. And I didn't drop it as quick as I should have. I was 39 years old. I didn't know. Sold every property we had created capital gains. If you don't 1031, you have capital gains. I didn't lose any of them to bank foreclosure or short sale. I wish I would have. Because the bank's like, oh, we'll write that off. The IRS is like, wait, write nothing off. We are coming after you, and we want a pint of blood and a pound of flesh, and they got it for the next 10 years. I was literally told, you want to go bankrupt? Sit home for a year and do nothing. I wasn't going to do that. So I suffered, but it was like, I believe it was 2010 or 11, and the market was just starting to switch, but we were so broke for years and years and years and years of just the downturn. In 2005, I sold 400 homes and became the number 2 RE/MAX agent in California. But I love Chris, he gave me a raise. I was number 1 in the world, or in the United States. Did you hear that? Every year the legend grows. It's awesome. I love it. I'll take I was number 1 in America. Anyways, who cares, right? You're number 1. Big deal. Anyways, so here's the deal. We had very little money, and we have all these kids. And I thought, wow, what do we got? We scrimped together our money. We probably spend $3,000 on Christmas. And I realized that's probably a lot of money to some people, but you know, what we were used to and living in the suburbs and all that, it wasn't much for all these kids. And so I decided, you know what? Let's find 6 families who have, nothing. And let's give them each $500 cash. So we were on a hunt to find 6 families to give them $500 cash each. And I go, and we'll kind of just figure Christmas out. So we got the $3,000, and we were handing envelopes of cash to people here and there. We asked around, and I watched grown men and grown women. It was like December 19th, 20th, 21, 22, right up to the 23rd, I think we gave out the 6th envelope, bawl like babies, because they didn't even have a Christmas tree. There was no chance of buying anything. And we sorted them, and it was so beautiful and meaningful. My family, the plan my wife and I came up with after we gave away our last $3,000 for Christmas for our kids is that at the time we had 5. We go, let's go to the 99-cent store. Do you have those here? Well, you should, okay? Anyways, back to my story. So we have everything in the store is 99 cents. They have handkerchiefs and coffee mugs and spatulas and, Christmas things. They're all 99 cents. It doesn't matter what it is. And so we gave each of the kids $20. And I go, you can buy 20 presents at 99 cents each. And you can buy stuff for your brothers and sisters. It'll be great. And we did that. And I got a spatula from my 7-year-old. My 4-year-old got me a Santa Claus coffee mug. And we all gave it. It was the most beautiful, meaningful Christmas ever. And it cost us $100. And so, life isn't about getting. Life is about giving. And sometimes it's giving a word. What do you mean a word? Well, the tongue has the power of life and death. And it's your inner voice that gets you. The one who says, yeah, but you're too fat. You're too skinny. You're too tall. You're too short. You're bald. You have too much hair. Your nose is funny. Your cheekbones are funny. Your chin's funny. You're just funny. And not you. All these people went across stage. I mean, if you had a body like this, you'd rock it too. You see what I mean? I feel sorry for you. But anyways, I'm just born with this, okay? Poor people. Now, here's the deal. And you can make excuses. And they're like armpits. Everyone has a couple and they stink, right? But here's the deal. Your inner voice is not you. Not you. Tony Kawaguchi, yeah, he's cool. He learned the Bible in like 2 different languages besides English. Hebrew and Greek. I speak sushi. Right? And so you can argue for your limitations, and you've been doing it your whole life. I would, but you just don't. I've had it so hard. Tony Robbins says you're a victim or you're victorious. Which is it going to be? You can keep blaming your parents. Well, you don't know my situation. You know what? I don't. But I can promise you this. There's a great quote, and I love it. I felt sorry for myself because I had no shoes till I met a man who had no feet. Somebody had it worse than you. And so you've got to decide, are you done? Have you had enough of manufacturing your own BS? And you're the number one customer. Is it time for you to step forward? Tony Robbins, if it bleeps, I don't know. Is it time for you to step up and do something great with your life? And what we're talking about is loving people, serving people, adding value. Remember that little thing I said? The tongue has the power of life and death. Put my notes here. You guys watch them close. The tongue, what table was that at? The tongue has the power of life and death. What do you mean? You don't have to give money. I remember once, I was 10 years old, my Astros coach. I don't remember their names, but he and his wife. It's the first time I could ever remember anyone saying nice things to me besides my parents or my relatives. I don't realize some of your parents and relatives didn't say nice things to you, but someone who didn't have to. And the way I felt around that couple in San Diego, California, Chula Vista, California, the way they made me feel and what they spoke to me, it just did something to my little 10-year-old Little League heart on that Astros team. I'll never forget it. And it didn't happen again until I was 15 years old. I'm 15, I'm on a YMCA ski trip. I'm going to Salt Lake City, Utah. Going to ski Snowbird, Park City, Alta, because I'm rich? No, because the YMCA is a cheap old school bus. And for $149, you could go for like 2 months. I don't know how the YMCA did it, but it was a week. And there was a woman on that. She was a chaperone. Older woman, very mature. Okay, she was really old. She was like 25? I don't know. But when you're 15, 25 is like the Stone Ages, right? And she said some things to me I will never forget. See, the tongue has the power of life and death. People don't want your money. They want your love. They want your acceptance. They want your validation. I mean, it's good to give it if you have it, right? Nothing wrong with that. But some go, I don't have anything to give. You have something to give. God has put you wherever you are, whatever company you are at, and it's the secretary at the tire company. It's the janitor at the school. It's the cashier at the yogurt place, and she's bawling. And you're like, what's going on with her? Well, that was my daughter. And I would love it if you would have spoken to her. But you didn't. Or maybe you did. So this woman said some things to me that were beyond kind. I'm like, oh my gosh, it did something for me inside. And then it didn't happen again till the next year. My soccer coach, Gary Summerhays. And around him, you didn't just want to swear. And you wanted to give your absolute best. And whatever sport he coached, they were the champions. Football, basketball, soccer, water polo. Did not matter. Whatever sport he coached, they became first place. Because he learned how to bring the best out in people. Because he saw them for what they were. Who can you genuinely see something that's true and call it out in them? That doesn't happen very often. And you have this ability. And what do? You tell your son, quit parking like that. You tell your daughter, a B+ is good, but come on, you can get A's. You tell your other child, why'd you quit your job? What's the matter with you? And you could be harsh with your own family, with your husband, with your wife. And this is your moment to recognize that you are called to be light in a dark world. You walk into the darkness, and it just lights up. Like when I walked out in the audience, you see it light up? That wasn't choreographed or planned. I was wondering, I can't walk in the audience. It's so dark. They won't catch my best side with the video. And then it just lit up. You want to be that guy. You want to be that gal that enters the room, and people go, oh my gosh, Sam's here. I love Sam. He's the coolest guy in the world. Oh my gosh. It's hard to see. Sandy? It was sideways. Oh my gosh, Sandy's here. I love Sandy. Why do you love Sandy? Because Sandy loves you. Why do you love Nolly and Josie? They're one of the most loving couples I've ever met in my life. Because they love unconditionally. Why do you love your dog? Most of you. Because your dog is always glad to see you. It jumps in your lap. It licks your face. It's wagging its tail. You are the greatest person on the planet. See, dogs figured this out a long time ago. They have a place to live, all the water they can drink, and food. And they don't have to do anything but just be excited. And I'm telling you, the future you'll have if you could just learn from the life of a dog. Who wants to be like a dog, right? And I tell you what, I'm like a dog. I disagree with Chris. I am not a fly on the windowsill. I am not. And it's okay. People will say things about you that aren't true. Or maybe you'll make a mistake. Forgive yourself. My notes, thank you. I was starting to slobber. I thought he was bringing me like napkins. I know my talks are good when I just start drooling. It's like, you notice the tables are back a little? It's called the splash zone. You have it even here, right? So here's the deal. This is your moment to show up for your kids, for your wife. Go repent to her for being a world-class clown. A-hole. I've been, the other day we're in a room about half the size. And they go, who's been married 5 years? Stand up. 5 years or more. And the whole room stands up. 50 families. They're all working on heritage, not just an inheritance. Heritage. What is your family known for? Like, what does our family values? What's our mission as a family? You're like, man, I'm just trying to pay the bills. How about William Wilberforce brought an end to slavery in Europe? That's pretty awesome. Dr. Martin Luther King, I have a dream. We all know his dream speech. Little black boys and little white boys playing together in their front yards. You didn't talk like that. You didn't dare talk like that. All it takes for evil to prevail in this world is for good men and good women to do nothing. Mother Teresa, what'd she do? She went to the end of Calcutta, the train tracks. She ended up in a town called Calcutta, which is now famous because of her. And what'd she do? Scoop up dead people that were dying and nurse them back to help them die with dignity. They're like, why are you doing this? And she looked at him, she goes, because I love you. Everybody has this amazing intrinsic value. But so many of our speakers said, is it just a commission check? What are you about? Where are you going? Is your ladder going up the right wall? And Michelle Wilson said, you know what? I'm tired of that. I want to be present for my daughter. Tony Kawaguchi decided after the first few months, it's natural to get excited. He decided to make it about other people. I had Shireen on my podcast today. I said, why did you sell $33 million worth of real estate in the past 4 months? By herself. She'll do $120 million this year by herself. Why? And she goes, I just attribute it to authenticity. I go, what do you mean? She goes, I make it all about them. I really find out about them. I talk far less than I listen way more. And I connect with them. She said, I connect with people. I ask them questions about their questions. Tony Kawaguchi said the same thing. John said the same thing. Thank you, John. I love you, man. Give John a hand. I love him right there. And John Leahy. And Dylan. I'm kind of forgetting who spoke. I'm having a moment. But here's the deal. This is your moment. Let me ask you a question. How many of you know who climbed Mount Everest? Who knows who's the first human being to climb Mount Everest? Anybody? Who was it? Sir Edmund Hillary, right over here. First person in the world that we know of to ever climb it and not die, made it back. Huh? Yeah, not die, yes. So, Sir Edmund Hillary. And then, let me ask you a question. Who ran the first sub 4-minute mile? Anybody know that one? Bannister, Roger Bannister. And you think they went up with a microphone and go, how'd you do it? How'd you do it, Roger Bannister? And he goes, well, I was just out walking around. Just out for a jog. Boom, 4-minute sub 4-minute mile. Sir Edmund Hillary, how'd you do it? Zig Ziglar always, I'll never forget his voice. Am I being too loud? Okay. I'm watching you too much. I'm like, she's giving me all these hand gestures. She's like into this. Thank you. Right. Mindset. Total commitment to your family, to your God, to your spouse, then the kids. A lot of you are so committed on the kids. You didn't marry your kids. You married your husband, your wife. Yeah, my husband's a bum. My wife's a this. I go, ooh. When the kids go, everything else is going to go. Learn to fall radically in love with your spouse. You don't know my spouse. Well, I know I didn't live at home for 8 months in 2010. And I had to learn how to be present, like Michelle Wilson said, because I wasn't, because for years and years and years and years, I was working 60, 70, 80 hours a week just trying to survive. And so I had some things to learn. My wife and I hit a gear in our marriage I did not think was possible. But we go to marriage counseling. We go to therapy. We go to couples retreats. We spend time together. We talk. Things have changed. We went to a relationship with Tony Robbins. platinum partners in Austin. It was amazing. I'm like, how could I have been married 31 years and not know this? How could I have been married? That was 3 years ago. It was so good. Write this down. Are you a student of life? Because what good is it if you succeed in real estate and it all goes away? And we have wounds, man. I came this close right here to getting divorced. I never understood it, didn't have empathy for it. I have so much empathy for people who've been through divorce. If you're going through marriage, I have so much. I didn't know until I was there. It's like trying to understand people with the 1-year-old, 2 and 3 and 4-year-old. You're married with no kids. You can't quite get it till you're there. And so I'll tell you this. We hit a gear we didn't know. So back to Puerto Rico, back to the Ritz-Carlton Preserve. There's only 4 of them in the world. One of them's in Puerto Rico. It's rainforest. It's amazing. We're in this room, half this big. Who's been married more than 5 years? Whole room stands up. 10 years, few people sit down. 15 years, more people sit down. 20 years, more people sit down. 25 years, more people sit down. Now there's just a handful of us. Who's been married more than 30 years? Everybody sat down. But my wife and I. My wife and I. We've been through the rain. We made it through to the other side. They all went crazy. They're applauding. How long have you been married? 34 years. They're like, how'd you do it? I'm like, we're barely hanging on, man. Just kidding. But it actually came out of my mouth because I like to say funny stuff. Yeah. But I'm telling you what. We hit gears I didn't even know were possible. We are madly in love with each other. I've talked to her 5 times today. I've texted her 8 times today. It's so much fun. You can have, but the voice is, no, not you. That couple, sure, but not you. Listen to me, that voice, shut it up. You decide to what internal voice you listen to. The one that says you'll never be a listing agent. You can never be successful. You'll never be out of debt. You will live in debt till you die. You'll always have claustrophobia. You'll always have this issue. And maybe you will, maybe you won't. But I'm telling you what, there's so much hope for you. But you got to take control of those internal voices. In the 80s, I listened to a cassette tape series by Dr. Dennis Waitley. He coached gold medalists, astronauts, presidents of the United States. He was the guy in the 80s, Dr. Dennis Waitley. His cassette tape program, I'm a dishwasher, I'm 19 years old. My dad hands it to me at Chico State, Northern California. The Inner Winner. And I would put on my Sony Walkman like Chris Pratt in Guardians of the Galaxy. Remember that? Bump, 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 bump. I love the beginning of that movie, right? And I'm listening to Dennis Waitley talk about need a 10, got a 10. About if you think I'm going to brick, it ain't going to help you make it, right? What's Jordan say? What's Kobe say? Like John was saying, nothing but net, baby. Does it guarantee it's going in? No, but thinking this has no chance isn't going to help either. What do you tell your kids? Be positive. You could do it. You're going to hit the ball. Picture the ball coming in, and then softball, baseball, and out it goes. You think, I'm going to strike out. Is that going to help you hit the ball? But as adults, you're thinking you're going to strike out. You're thinking it's a brick. Think about what you're saying. But are you a student of life? Are you a student of real estate? I constantly go to stuff. I remember in 2004 or 5, I was going to another RE/MAX event, and David McCoy, actual person, good guy, he's like, why do you keep going to real estate events? Every 2-3 months, I'm going somewhere. I'm on a plane going somewhere. I go, because I'm learning based, man. Has real estate changed much since 2004 or 5, last 20 years? A lot. Are there companies on the island that didn't change? How's that work out for them? How's Dairy Queen doing? Right? How's Netflix doing? Has Airbnb and VRBO changed things? Yellow Cab went bankrupt because of this company called Uber. And one thing we know about life, it's going to constantly change. And you have to embrace it. You have to lean into it. You see, write this down. There's a special word you got to know. struggle. We all struggle. Every single person here is facing some sign of a struggle. It's medical, it's mental, their emotional health. Could be financial. Some of you are going through that hurricane in your finances. Your marriage, maybe your child has some childhood disease or something that's just ravishing your family and just crushing your heart, breaking your heart. Maybe you have a teenage daughter, a teenage son that's just off the freaking deep end, and you don't know what to do about it. And they ignore you. And I'm telling you, I had one of those. And I loved my daughter, and I loved her, and I loved her, and I loved her, and I showed up, and I showed up. And today, I love you, Dad. She must have told me 4 times before I went here. I'm telling you, it felt hopeless. But I showed up. She needs you, Mom. Your daughter needed Michelle Wilson, and Michelle Wilson's there because she recognized it. My daughter needed me, and I fought for her. But they don't respond to me. They walk by you, and you're like, hello, and they just walk by. Like, why? I don't know. Right? But I'm there. I'm the knight in shining armor. And I told her I loved her, and I cared about her, and she was special to me, and she's amazing. And she's even got some different values these days. Right? Some people are save the world, save this, and I'm all about, she's like radically into saving reefs, and I want to save the reefs, but she's like the president of ecosystem and stuff. Good, yeah, exactly. And I'm like, great, I'll help, and I'm into it too, but she's like next level. Everything's got to be solar, and I drive cars that aren't always solar. I like gasoline. I know, I don't throw stuff at me. I'm a flawed human being too. But you know what? I tell her how proud I am of her. The other day she said, Dad, I threw a little thing on campus. They got some of their clubs together. And I'm like, oh, really? She goes, yeah. We had like different groups there, like at tables and stuff. I remember 40 years ago when I was in college. Yeah. I go, how many did you have? How many think she had? So her ecos thing is like 20 people. That's it. I'm thinking like 10 tables. Get some of the chess club there and the science club and the equestrian club and the hiking club and maybe the mountain bikers and the hikers. And how many? She goes, there were 40 tables at her event. I'm celebrating her. Tell her how proud I am of her. She votes different politically than I do. Doesn't matter. She can do whatever. I love her. I care about her. Your kids don't need to vote the way you vote politically. They don't need to have your stance on taxation. They can have different views on the border, on socialism, conservatism, liberal, whatever. But man, the more you love, the more your life will open up like a flower. But I want to say this, naysayers. When Roger Bannister ran the first sub 4-minute mile, you know what the experts said? If you run a mile, doctors, scientists, we are positive that if you break the 4-minute mile, your heart will burst in your chest. And blood will come out of every orifice in your nose, your ears, and your body. Oh, I'm really motivated to do that. You have people, you can't do that. Go get a real job. You can't make it real estate. You can have those. I'm done. You can, or put them back. Okay. That's cool. Thank you. Anyways, so here's the deal. Do you have any naysayers in your life? Maybe a mom, a dad, an aunt and uncle, brother. Yeah, you're not like Tony. You're not like Shireen. You're not like Chris Okamura. Look how good he looks. He looks good. He wears some cool shoes. He's a good-looking guy. You're just Brent. Like, my son's getting married Saturday, right? I have no idea. Yeah. I have 8 kids. 1 down, 7 to go. Right? What am I wearing? I don't know, jeans and a polo? I don't know. This is me at a wedding. This is me in life. I'm not a snappy dresser, but I'm a snappy lover. Whoa. I mean, I'm a hugger. I'm born to lift rooms. Say it quietly. I hate it when people say, repeat after me. It sounds like freaky, like mind control. But inside, I'm born to lift rooms. Say that in your mind. I'm a room lifter. I walk in rooms and light shines. I stand for what's right. I stand for my principles. I'm proud of my daughter. She stands for her. She's doing something about it. Are you? Do you bring fresh water? We build wells. Do you feed people? We feed people. Do you help the homeless? We totally help the homeless. Do you have different ministries you do and missionaries and fellowship of Christian athletes and Forward Edge? Do you rescue kids off trash piles in Nicaragua? We do. Because daddy showed up. Is mommy going to show up? Are you going to go cave woman? Are you going to go caveman? Well, this is Hawaii, dude. Chill out. Hang loose. We're just like, listen to me. You know what your greatest asset is? Hunger. Do you want to live a life of quiet desperation? Or are you hungry to love, to make a difference, to be purpose driven? Tony hit it on the head. Money will not make you happy. You'll get there and go, I feel empty. And I get it. Having none of it is kind of miserable too. Right? I mean, it can be like oxygen. You need a little bit, right? I got that. But what is your purpose? What is your family's heritage? What do you stand for? Well, we're not like the Vanderbilts. We're not like, that was on purpose, okay? This is distracting me. All right, thank you though. Could it really be that easy? Yeah. Like, what will you be remembered for in 500 years? Because you're an egomaniac and you want a statue? No, because you wanted your life to mean something. Well, Brent, he was an awesome real estate agent. He was born in 1966 and he died this time. And everyone loved him. He's a good guy and he took people to Maui and he did this and that. But what you really want your life to stand for? What's the biggest room in the world? Taj Mahal? Sistine Chapel? I'll tell you. It's the room for improvement. The reason I'm absolutely positive you could live a life that you want to live with impact. A life where you just feel great every day. I mean, there's tough days. And you got to grin and bear it. But don't allow yourself to feel sorry for yourself. Take 2 minutes and get over that. How about this one? Self-loathing. As many of you absolutely won't forgive yourself, and you hate yourself. Oh, trust me. Can't stand the way you look. Can't stand your smile. Your nose. You cannot stand your chin. You're too skinny. You're too tall. Whatever. You don't have enough hair. And whatever it is. You can't speak. You mumble over your words. Everybody's an expert at self-loathing. I don't know anyone who hated themselves that left the world a better place. Self-loathing. Stalin hated himself. Hitler hated himself. They hate themselves. And hurt people hurt people. So lose the self-loathing. This is really pity. It's feeling sorry for yourself. And what it is it's a bad cycle. Pretty soon you're feeling sorry for yourself, that you're feeling sorry for yourself because you're feeling sorry for yourself, and you go down that rabbit hole of depression. See, I don't know what year it was, 2008. I got locked in the back of a van with 14 dudes. After snowmobiling at 30 below zero, we all had 3 layers of clothing on. I don't normally walk around wearing 3 layers of clothing. And it was blowing 60 miles an hour at the top of Squaw Valley at Lake Tahoe. And we had a great time snowmobiling that day. I was the first one in the van. I was just ready to go. Had a blast. I go all over the back, get all the way to the back corner of the van, way over here. And then in comes 2, 3, 4, 5. Pretty soon there's 14 grown men wearing 3 layers of clothing, down jackets. And I started getting hot. And I go, I'm going to open the window. And it was one of those passenger 4x4 vans we took up to the snow line and 4-wheel drive way up high to the snowmobiles in Squaw Valley where they were. And it was sealed. They didn't pop out. They didn't slide open. It was just sealed, like a really cheap van. I turned around, sealed. And I just panicked. Never had a panic attack in my life. I had a panic attack. My mom had them. I'm like, what's wrong with you? Don't panic. I freaked out. Your brain secretes things like you're going to die now. And you get this flight or fight feeling. And they started to drive, and I freaked out. Freaked out. Never done this before since. I got up and started crawling over the top of men's heads. Like, I didn't ask, please. I just freaked out. I threw the side door. Now they're only going like 5-10 miles an hour. It's bouncing around, four-wheel drive. I throw the door open and dive out in the snow, and they stop and go, what the hell's wrong with you? Are you sick? I'm like, and that began this claustrophobic thing I dealt with. The next week, I'm flying to Lafayette, Louisiana, and I said, can't do it. If I get on that plane, I will open the door at 40,000 feet. I will open the door. And so I had to go see a psychologist, Christian psychologist, and he taught me something I think will be helpful to all of you. He said, when you start panicking, whether it's claustrophobia, whether it's public speaking, you got to stop yourself. You see, you start circling the drain. And what you focus on expands. And if you think about, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, you're going to panic and you're going to freak out. So when that happens, you force yourself to quit doing that and think about the Great Barrier Reef, and think about sharks, and think about Shark Week, think about Discovery Week, and think about Animal Planet, and then think about the blue coral reefs of America, think about whale. Think about that show where they save whales in Japan, and they have that boat that squirts water at people, and they try to cut them off so they don't get all the whales in Japan. Now I'm thinking about sushi. I loved sushi. Did I mention I love sushi? And then I like to go out to eat. I like steaks. Those are good. And you just let your mind, you kind of skip away from the sucking whirlpool of hell. And it changed my life. I was able to go to Lafayette and not open the door. Right? He's weird. I don't know why I said that, but for those of you that suffer, there you go. So, are you a student of life? I've got 3 minutes and 40 seconds left. Are you a student of life? Are you? Like, what are you doing? What are you reading? What are you reading? I'm reading the book Radical Leap right now. What are you reading? I'm reading a book about how to doing life with your adult children. The subheading, shut your mouth. I'm like, oh, I need this one, right? What are you reading? Readers are leaders. Leaders are readers. Readers are leaders. What are you listening to? Are you in contagious proximity of people doing something great? Or are you hanging out with turkeys? People pulling you back in the bucket. You can't do that. You shouldn't do that. They're selling you a bill of goods. I hang out with eagles. I hang out with eagles. People who are doing great things. They inspire me. Like Dylan Nanaka said, his whole 25, and then he met people doing 400, and all of a sudden doing 50 or 100 was easy. So I'll say this. I want to challenge you to go to the next UPW, Unleash the Power Within, Tony Robbins. Or go to John Maxwell. Maybe that's not your style. Maybe go to 10X Growth Con. Maybe go to Ed Milet. Maybe go to Build LA, July 25th. It's a Disney hotel. Yeah, we just signed the contract today. July 25th, a one-day event. $99 includes dinner on the lawn, and then you can go to Disneyland the next day. July 25th. Come from here. It is May, and we're doing this again there. It'll be much bigger. And it's going to be July 25th. Like, bring some people. You saw Dylan sit here. Hey, on my team, stand up. There were a lot of people. He's a leader. He will continue to grow. The best promoters grow like crazy. So go to EXPCon in October. Well, that's a lot of work. Is it? What's your future? I guess you're right. It's not worth it. Your future's not worth it. Because you become like people you hang out with. Tell your kids, don't hang out with those kids. Why? Because they may be smoking, drinking, partying, take your child down a road. It's no different when you're an adult. Who you hanging out with matters. Write down this word, contagious proximity. You catch what other people have that you're with. Is it worth, do people want to catch what you have? Do they want to catch what you have? Is what you have worth catching? It's decision time. It's decision time. Close your eyes real quick. It's not my notes. Just close your eyes. Who are you going to be, man? You going to redesign your life? They say everybody's life is a movie, and you're the director. How do you like your life? Do you need to rewrite the script? Do you need a site change? If you're the director, you could change the site of that movie. Maybe you need to move. Do you have some bad actors in your movie? Write them out of the script. Like, done with Uncle Bob. Done with Aunt so-and-so. Done with that agent who's creating turmoil at the office. Do you need to change the script? Do you need to rewrite the script? Tear it up and go to a whole new script? Look, you are capable of a whole new life. You don't like your movie? Rewrite it. Change the location, change the actors, change the script, and live a life you only dreamed of. I love you all. Thank you for having me today. Good.
Woo, give it up again for Brent Gove. Oh my God. All the way from Puerto Rico. This man.
He always just gives it everything.
God. We didn't really realize he was going to go out the stage.
Everything.
Out in the audience, so that was awesome. Turn the lights on and get you guys front and center.
That was good. Hey, you guys, we are going to wrap it up. We're going to have Fidelity National Title come up real quick. Can you guys come up? They want to give a couple gifts away before we go. And then just wanted to kind of go over a couple things about tomorrow, too. I also, really quickly, guys, I want to just let you all know that we had some sponsors, and they're going to be here tomorrow as well. Fidelity's one of them. You guys will hear my story tomorrow at 2 o'clock. Fidelity is what brought me to Hawaii. Where's Kurt? Kurt Johnson, come here. Kurt Johnson, come, please.
Yeah,
no,
right
up here.
Up here.
Up
Come on
here.
stage.
Do any of you know this guy? Do any of you know
Give it
him?
up.
So you guys. So anyway, get back over here.
He's shy.
Kurt Johnson is my claim to fame. I hired him at Fidelity. Isn't that cool?
Yay, thank you, Shireen.
I think he's the best sales rep on the island. But anyway, appreciate it. So Fidelity, yep, they are my favorite company. They did sponsor today. And then one of my best home inspectors is out there. You know how it's hard as agents to share your people? I did. My favorite lender, Nick 80, is out there. My favorite photographer, Juan, right here in the middle of the room. You guys, he's a great real estate photographer. And then also we have the social media crew. Did you guys see them? You guys can get a free social media post while you're here. They do a phenomenal job. They came from LA. You guys, they're really good. So take advantage of them. I'm using them. I happened to meet Liv, the pretty blonde girl out there, when she was 12 years old playing. She's an amazing musician. She writes songs for big songs you hear all the time. Anyway, this girl's amazing. Liv, she's there, and her boyfriend, Matt. So just want you guys to know these people that have helped us sponsor this event today are all in my little tribe. I appreciate all of them, and so please support them if you guys are looking. I think there's a free home inspection to be had, so don't leave me. Okay, so here we go. So they're going to do 2 quick little giveaways from Fidelity right now.
Good evening. My name's Autumn, and I'm with Fidelity, National Title and Escrow, and we have 2 Fidelity swag bags to give away. So the first person whose birthday is closest to today can come up here and grab a bag. What is today? I don't even know what the... May 7th. Anybody's birthday today by any chance? Perfect.
May 4th.
The 4th?
You got a 4th?
9?
12?
12?
9. Okay, who's the 9th? That's it.
9.
9,
All
there we go.
right. Come on up here. Your name? Your name is?
Craig Stanger.
Oh, well, congratulations, Craig. Congratulations. Oh, awesome.
She topped up Brent.
You want to take a picture? Okay. Thanks, Craig. Okay, this next bag will go to the first person who can run up here, take a selfie with me and post it on their social media.
All right, Miko.
Okay, can you pick one of these and hold? Okay. And of course, we have to publicize Fidelity. Google Map?
Yeah, I don't have a social media, so already I've been doing it.
Oh, okay, yeah. As long as it's, on social media.
I have a 32 million views.
Oh, by all means.
Yeah, already in the Sheraton's already.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so tomorrow is going to start at 2 o'clock. You guys, please be on time. Okay, tomorrow morning is at 9. 9 to 12 is a free session, and it's all about building your real estate business completely. It's not about anything else, okay? And we have some great people coming in for that.
We do. We got Phil Stringer doing the AI piece. We got Michelle Wilson, who's on stage today, and Nolly Williams. All three of them will have a 3-hour session from 9 to 12, so show up in here tomorrow morning for that event, and it's free.
Yep. And then at 2 o'clock, come back, you guys. We have an incredible afternoon. Phil Stringer is going to be here in the afternoon
he
as
will.
well. And we're going to have something special for you guys. So please, we'll see you all back tomorrow.
One more thing. If you need some parking validation, there'll be somebody in the back there. Please hit them up. They'll hit your stamp for the parking validation. And we hope to see everybody after the VIP party tonight. Maui Brewing Company. Thanks a lot, everybody, today. Hope this was valuable. And we'll see everybody again tomorrow. Enjoy. Have a great evening. Meet some people. Hang out.